Chapter 3193. Are you going to hand it over or not? Nangong and the marvelous mathematician were furious. Things had already come to this, but the other party was still unwilling to hand over the 9 Revolution Chaos Codex. At this moment, Longao's figure suddenly disappeared. What should we do now? Since he is unwilling to hand over the 9 Revolution Chaos Codex, let's refine this primordial spirit. Seeing that Longao did not care about it, the two of them lost their confidence. In the chaotic Dantian. Dragon Python, what's the matter? Longao was curious. He did not know why the Dragon Python was looking for him at this time. The 9-headed Dragon Python said, "Boss, I have a way to take back the primordial spirit." "What is it?" Hearing that the 9-headed Dragon Python had a way to take back Lingruoi's primordial spirit, Longao was overjoyed. He could not wait to ask. Not only Longao, but the other chaotic divine beasts were also curious. They did not know what the 9-headed Dragon Python was going to do. "Boss, I was not confident before, but now." The 9-headed Dragon Python said with a smile, "The primordial spirit in your hand is incomplete. I can use this to summon the remaining primordial spirit of Lingruoi." Good, good, good. It was a pleasant surprise. Longao had just decided that if there was no other way, he would hand over the 9 Revolution Chaos Codex. No matter what, he could not let the two of them refine Lingruoi's primordial spirit. The 9-headed Dragon Python knew that his boss was anxious. Without hesitation, he immediately used the primordial spirit in Longao's hand to summon it. Outside, the two of them pretended to refine the primordial spirit. In the end, the primordial spirit was useless to them. Their real purpose was to get Longao to hand over the 9 Revolution Chaos Codex. But the result? Seeing the primordial spirit in their hands disappear, the two of them were completely dumbfounded. Where did the primordial spirit go? Nangong, what is going on? The marvelous mathematician thought that it was Nangong's doing. He wanted to take the 9 Revolution Chaos Codex for himself, so his voice was cold and murderous. How could Nangong not know what the marvelous mathematician was thinking? "I don't know what's going on either. It should be Longao's doing." Just as Nangong finished speaking, Longao's figure appeared. "All right, I promise you. But you'd better not play any tricks on me, or else." Longao didn't continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. If it was before, the two of them would definitely be very surprised. But now, the situation was obviously different. "Longao, stop putting on an act in front of us. You've already taken the primordial spirit, but it's still here." Not waiting for Nangong to finish his words, Longao fiercely chopped down with his primal chaos axe. "I'll destroy you all." Under the situation of 1 against 2, how could Longao be a match for the two of them? After a short few dozen moves, Longao had already been hit continuously. He had no choice but to directly hide inside the chaotic Dantian. "Brother Yi, this is definitely Longao's doing." Yibu waved his hand. Yibu's face was very gloomy, and he said with an ugly expression, "Nangong, you'd better not play any tricks on me. Hand over the primordial spirit and we can still be considered allies. Otherwise, I'll destroy you." Nangong didn't know what was going on, but his intuition told him that Longao shouldn't be able to do it. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't be like this. Since it wasn't Longao's doing, then what was going on? He really couldn't figure it out. "Brother Yi, don't you believe me?" "Why should I believe you? Who do you think you are?" The marvelous mathematician was really angry. Originally, they had agreed to deal with Longao together. But now, at the critical moment, when Longao was about to hand over the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Formula, Nangong dared to play tricks on him. How could he not be angry? Forcibly suppressing the killing intent in his heart, the marvelous mathematician's face changed, becoming very gloomy and ugly. Nangong was also a primal chaos reincarnation expert. With his strength and status, how could he be afraid of the marvelous mathematician? Especially when the marvelous mathematician's words were completely provoking him. His face turned cold. Nan Gongyin also snorted coldly, and said coldly, Yibu, who do you think you are? You actually dare to talk nonsense with me here? I'm the one who captured the primordial spirit, what does it have to do with you? If you're obedient, I can give you a chance. If you're indecisive, humph, you won't even get a hair. Courting death. Courting death. Both of them were really angry and started fighting. Yi Dugu was completely confused. He didn't know what was going on. Why did his father and the other party suddenly start fighting? Didn't the two of them want to deal with Longao together? He didn't dare to interfere. The other party was also a primal chaos reincarnation expert. Even if he was only a primal chaos life and death realm expert, he could kill him in a matter of minutes. In order to avoid being implicated, it was better to stay far away. Yibu and Nan Gongyin fought fiercely, exchanging blows back and forth. Within his primal chaos dantian, Longao could naturally sense that the two of them had already started fighting. This was the result he wanted. Otherwise, his brother wouldn't have to spend so much effort to fight him. The two of them still weren't united enough. However, after thinking about it, the two of them had only joined hands for a short period of time. This kind of relationship was the weakest. Dragon Python, I really have to thank you this time. No need to be so polite with me. Looking at the primordial spirit before him, Longao felt guilty and blamed himself. He said, Roy, you've suffered. But don't worry, I'll think of a way to let you be reborn in the future. Ling Roy didn't say anything, but she was clearly very emotional. Longao didn't have much of a way to deal with her. He could only hand her over to Sister Yun and Xiao Qian. After all, it was easier for women to communicate with each other. Boss, what should we do now? Humph. Longao was very angry. Now that he thought about it, he was scared. If the nine-headed dragon python didn't have a way to take back the primordial spirit without anyone noticing, the primordial spirit would have been refined by the two of them. Because of this, if he didn't take revenge, not to mention himself, even Ling Roy wouldn't be able to face it. The battle between the two of them outside was getting crazier and crazier. It seemed like only one of them would survive. Yibu, are you crazy? This is Longao's plan, you idiot. I'll destroy you. Not to mention the divine mathematician, anyone who encountered this would have the same thought. The primordial spirit in Nan Gongyin's hand disappeared out of nowhere. Moreover, he was right beside him. No one would believe that this was the doing of Longao. Because of this, in the divine mathematician's opinion, this was Nan Gongyin's doing. He wanted to take the 9-revolution chaos formula for himself. Chapter 3194. The godly mathematician did not believe Nan Gongyin's words at all. Wanting to take it all for himself? Forget about it. Even if they were beaten to death, neither of them would have guessed that this was Longao's doing. His intention was for the two of them to kill each other so that he could reap the benefits. When the sandpiper and the clam fought, the fisherman would reap the benefits. The godly mathematician and Nan Gongyin's strength were about the same, and neither of them could do anything to the other. Regarding this point, both of them were clearer than anyone else. This was a battle that shocked the heavens and earth. This battle lasted for a full 3 days and 3 nights. This was a battle where either one of them would die. Morning of the 4th day, both of them were truly tired. Because their strengths were about the same, the battle between the two of them was exceptionally intense. After the battle, both of them were half dead and severely injured. Dugu, help me kill this man. Ha! Yi Dugu was completely stumped. He had not expected his father to ask him to kill Nan Gongyin. He did not dare to do so. After all, he knew clearly what sort of person Nan Gongyin was. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. This was a logic that Yi Dugu knew. If he did not kill Nan Gongyin and Nan Gongyin killed him instead, that would be like trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. Father! What a piece of trash! Ha ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Just as Nangong was laughing maniacally, a figure appeared before him. It was none other than Longao. Longao. Waving his hand, Longao could not be bothered to listen to Nangong's nonsense. He laughed coldly. Both of you must have not forgotten what I said earlier on. As a chaos reincarnation martial artist, to think that you would do something as shameless as this. I feel ashamed for you guys. Regardless of whether it was Nangong or the god diviner, their expressions were extremely gloomy and unsightly. This was supposed to be a foolproof plan. To think that something would go wrong. Longao, were you the one who did this? Nangong's instincts told him that this definitely had something to do with Longao. Other than Longao, he really couldn't think of any other explanation. Since things were already like this, Longao didn't continue to hide it. He smiled and said, "You guessed right. This is my doing." "What can you do?" Endless rage. When Master God Diviner heard Longao's words, he finally realized that this matter wasn't Nangong's doing. It would be a lie to say that he didn't regret it. However, it was too late for regrets. This time, Longao's goal was very clear. He wanted to deal with the two of them. Previously, he still had the primordial spirit as a weakness, but now, he had nothing. "Longao, how about we write this off?" Write it off? He had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen someone so shameless. Whether it was the divine mathematician or Nangong, both of them were simply shameless to the extreme. Nangong coldly snorted. Longao coldly looked at the two people in front of him and sneered, "Nangong, divine mathematician, I originally didn't care about the previous grudges. We've always minded our own business. However, you've already touched my bottom line. If I don't kill you, do you think I'll be able to face myself?" Longao's meaning was very clear. The two of them weren't fools. How could they not understand? The more they understood, the gloomier their faces became. If it was before, the two of them naturally wouldn't care about Longao. However, the situation was completely different now. The two of them had fought each other and were both seriously injured. Under such circumstances, even if the two of them joined forces, they wouldn't be Longao's match. "Longao, do you really think you can cover the sky with one hand?" "Yidugu?" Looking at Yidugu beside Yibu, Longao suddenly smiled. "Yidugu, if you hadn't said anything, I would have almost forgotten about you. Ah, speaking of which, you've always been at odds with me. I'll take advantage of this opportunity to get rid of you as well." Yidugu had always been a problem. If one didn't pull up the roots when cutting weeds, they would grow back when the spring breeze blew. Longao naturally knew that Yidugu's cultivation speed and talent were truly terrifying. If he wasn't eliminated, he would definitely become a disaster in the future. "With just you?" Yidugu suppressed his fear. He naturally knew that he wasn't a match for Longao. It was just that he didn't want to admit defeat. He could lose to anyone, but he couldn't lose to Longao. Back in the martial heaven continent, he had been high and mighty. Longao had been nothing more than an ant. In just a short amount of time, Longao's status and power had undergone a heaven-toppling transformation. Let alone him, even his father would find it difficult to contend against him. He wasn't willing to accept this fact. Ha 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 ha. Longao didn't waste any more words. He immediately began to crazily attack Yidugu. But just at this moment, the three of them suddenly vanished. This is bad. Longao was filled with regret. He naturally knew what had happened. This was Heaven Valley, Nangong's territory. Their sudden disappearance was definitely related to Heaven Valley. But it was too late to regret it now. It was just as Longao had guessed. The instant he had appeared, Nangong had already made preparations. If he had directly attacked, the three of them would have died here. However, Longao had miscalculated. Many thanks. The God Diviner was truly grateful to Nangong. If it hadn't been for Nangong's timely thinking, he would have already died. Just thinking about it made him feel some lingering fear. Nan Gongyin bitterly smiled. The reason he had saved the God Diviner was so that he could deal with Longao in the future. After all, the enemy of an enemy was a friend. If it hadn't been for Longao, he would have wanted the God Diviner to die. How could he have helped the God Diviner? That was complete nonsense. Yibu, the biggest reason we failed this time was because Longao was able to steal our Yuan spirits without anyone noticing. The second reason was because we didn't trust each other. Otherwise, things wouldn't have fallen to this point. Yibu naturally didn't want to admit it. But the truth was right in front of him. He helplessly said, Nan Gongyin, what should we do now? In this kind of situation, even Yibu didn't pay attention to it. The most important reason was that this was Heaven Valley, Nan Gongyin's territory. With a grave expression, Nan Gongyin helplessly said, if the Yuan spirits were still in our hands, we would have been able to take the lead. But now, we've become passive. Unless we can lock onto the location of the other side's family, how is that possible? The God Diviner naturally knew what Nan Gongyin meant. He smiled and said, others might not be able to do it, but for me, it's not a problem at all. You can lock onto the location of Longao's family? Which starry sky plane is it? Chapter 3195. Master Godly Mathematician nodded. Others might not know, but how could he not know? Since things had already come to this, Master Godly Mathematician did not continue to hide it. He told Nan Gongyin about what had happened in the Tianwu continent. After listening, Nan Gongyin immediately became happy in his heart and said, good, as long as we can control Longao's family, at that time, if we tell him to go east, he won't dare to go west. If we say 1, he won't dare to say 2. Ha 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 ha, Longao had already guessed the shamelessness of the two. After leaving Sky Valley, Longao rushed to the soaring dragon starry sky as fast as he could. If it were anyone else, Longao wouldn't be worried at all. It wasn't easy to lock onto the location of the soaring dragon starry sky. Only Master Godly Mathematician and Yidugu. The two had left from the soaring dragon starry sky, so how could they not know about the 9 chaos channels? Although he had destroyed 8 chaos channels, there was still 1 channel left to enter the soaring dragon starry sky. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Master Godly Mathematician and the others really locked onto him and entered the soaring dragon starry sky, no one would be able to stop them. Blackstone Heavenly Region. The last channel to the soaring dragon empire. Longao did not enter the soaring dragon starry sky because he knew that it would be useless even if he entered the soaring dragon empire. What should he do? Longao was most afraid of his family being in danger, especially when facing Master Godly Mathematician and Nan Gongyin. Boss, I have an idea, but I don't know if you want to try it. Tell me. Xiao He thought for a moment and said, Boss, there is only one way to completely stop Master Godly Mathematician and the others from entering the soaring dragon starry sky, and that is to completely destroy the last chaos channel. How could Longao not know what Xiao He meant? It was easy to destroy it, but even harder to rebuild it. Not to mention the current him, even if he was at his peak, it was still unknown whether he could build the chaos channel between the primal chaos realm and the soaring dragon starry sky. Boss, we all know the seriousness of the matter, but you have to think about the consequences if Master Godly Mathematician and the others find the chaos channel and enter the soaring dragon realm. At this point, Little He did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool. How could he not understand? He felt helpless. He felt even more depressed. He gritted his teeth. Longao suddenly stood up, staring coldly at the chaos passageway in front of him. He directly attacked to destroy it. 3 days later, Master God Diviner, Nan Gongyin, and Elder God Diviner had already arrived. Thinking about how they were about to control Longao's family, the 3 of them were pleasantly surprised. They couldn't wait to take control of Longao's family. Yibu, hurry up and start locking onto the starry sky plane. Yibu also nodded. He naturally understood Nan Gongyin's anxiousness. Not to mention Nangong, even he was a bit impatient. Yibu and Yidugu began to lock onto the passageway. There were a total of 9 chaos passageways between the starry plane and the chaos realm. By locking onto one of the chaos passageways, they could smoothly enter the starry plane. There was no doubt about it. But what was the result? The two of them locked onto the passageway with all their strength. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, half a month had quietly passed. In the end, the two of them still couldn't lock onto the chaos passageway that led to the starry plane. There were 9 chaos passageways, but they couldn't even lock onto one. What was going on? The two of them were shocked. They had no idea what was going on. Under normal circumstances, with their situation, locking onto the 9 chaos passageways should be a matter of minutes. Master God Diviner, what's going on? Have you locked onto the chaos passageway? Nangong seemed to have guessed something, but he really didn't want to believe it. Master God Diviner and Yidugu came from the same starry sky plane as Longao. How could they not lock onto the passageway that led to the starry plane? It was simply nonsense. Truly, what one feared most came true. Master God Diviner's face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could be. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happened, Longao should have destroyed all the chaos passageways that led to the starry plane. If we want to enter the starry plane, we must rebuild the chaos passageway between the chaos realm and the starry plane. Nangong had already guessed countless possibilities, but he never thought that Longao would take the initiative to destroy all the chaos passageways. After all, if he did so, not only them, but even Longao wouldn't be able to enter the chaos passageways. There were only 2 possibilities. The first possibility was that Longao entered the starry plane and never came back. The second possibility was that Longao didn't enter the starry plane at all. No matter which possibility it wasn't a good thing for the 3 of them. After all, if they couldn't control Longao's family, they wouldn't be able to control Longao. In that case, they wouldn't be able to obtain the 9 Revolution Chaos secret art. They had tried countless methods, but all of them failed. Because of this, whether it was Nangong or Master God Diviner, they wanted to try Longao's self-created 9 Revolution Chaos secret art to see if they could succeed in reaching the Tao-confirming realm. Back then, Longao had only broken through the peak of the 7th revolution of the 9 Revolution Chaos secret art, but he had already reached the peak of the Primal Chaos reincarnation realm. It was completely conceivable that if he could break through the 8th revolution of the 9 Revolution Chaos secret art, or even the 9th revolution, he would definitely succeed in reaching the Tao-confirming realm. This was also the real reason why the 2 of them were determined to obtain the 9 Revolution Chaos secret art. But now, the situation was completely different. We can't rebuild the chaos passageways at all, unless we are Tao-confirming realm cultivators. What's more, the chaos passageways of the starry plane and the chaos realm are innate. Not everyone can easily destroy them. According to the rumors, even primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators can't destroy the chaos passageways. If that's the case, how could Longao destroy them? He couldn't figure it out, he really couldn't figure it out. Looking at the entire chaos realm, no one could destroy the chaos passageways unless they were Tao-confirming realm cultivators. However, how many Tao-confirming realm cultivators were there in the chaos realm? Not to mention that Longao had just recovered his primal chaos domain, even Longao at his peak couldn't destroy the chaos passageways. What was going on? How could Master God Diviner not know what Nangong was talking about? He said with some uncertainty, "You mean, Longao is very likely to be a reincarnation, or even the reincarnation of a Tao-confirming realm cultivator?" Nangong didn't want to believe it, but he knew that his guess was very likely to be true. Apart from this, they couldn't think of a second possibility. If that's really the case, then things are really good. We can take advantage of this opportunity to seize the other party's chaos seed. Every Tao-confirming realm cultivator had a chaos seed in their body. Once they died, the chaos seed would automatically leave their body. If other cultivators obtained it, they would most likely succeed in reaching the Tao-confirming realm. Chapter 3196. First Heavenly Domain. The 9 chaos channels leading to the soaring dragon starry skyplane had all been destroyed. Longao was no longer worried because neither the Oracle nor Nangongin could step into the soaring dragon starry sky. "Boss, there's something I want to ask, but I don't know if I should ask." "Go ahead." Longao was very curious, not knowing what Tao Tai wanted to ask him. Not to mention Longao, even the others had a face full of curiosity. Tao Tai thought for a moment, and finally said, "Under normal circumstances, ordinary chaos martial artists can't destroy the chaos channels, including chaos reincarnation martial artists." No one spoke, and they all looked at Tao Tai. Regarding the meaning of Tao Tai's words, how could everyone not understand? The chaos channels themselves existed in the chaos world, and ordinary chaos martial artists couldn't destroy them. Even chaos reincarnation martial artists couldn't do it. There was no doubt about it. Tao Tai continued, "Not to mention Boss at his peak, under normal circumstances, with Boss's current strength, he can't destroy the chaos channels." So that's how it was. Everyone probably already knew the meaning of Tao Tai's words. "Tao Tai, what do you mean? You might as well say it." Xiao He had a depressed look on his face. He was very clear about this situation, but what could he do? Longao nodded and said, "Tao Tai, I already know what you mean. Are you trying to say that I'm most likely the reincarnation of a Tao-confirming expert?" "That's right." Xiao He and the others' faces changed abruptly, because they knew very well what their boss meant by reincarnation of a Tao-confirming expert. If the reincarnation of a Tao-confirming expert was true, wouldn't it mean that their boss was the reincarnation of a Tao-confirming expert? Was this true? Longao had a bitter look on his face, and said helplessly, "I'm not the reincarnation of a Tao-confirming expert. If it were the chaos channels of other starry skyplanes, I wouldn't be able to destroy them." What did that mean? The biggest reason why I was able to destroy the 9 great chaos channels of the soaring dragon starry sky was because I absorbed the origin source of the starry sky bit wall when I arranged the array formation. That's why I was able to destroy it. The biggest reason was because I was lucky. Lucky. That was indeed the case. Back then, it could be said that he had taken advantage of the right time, place, and people to successfully destroy them. Now that he thought about it, he still felt a lingering fear. If he hadn't obtained the origin and destroyed the primal chaos channel, the godly mathematician Nangongin would have already entered the soaring dragon empire. It was obvious what the consequences would be. He did not continue to dwell on this issue. Longao had his own thoughts on what was happening. Master God Diviner and Nangongin definitely weren't the first wave of people to try to steal his 9 transformations primal chaos incantation. Once is fine. He could do it twice as well. But what about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th time? No one could guarantee that they would be so lucky every time. If they were unlucky, who knew what would happen? "Boss, we have to take the initiative. We can't go on like this." Nodding his head, Longao said firmly, "We must restore our peak strength as soon as possible. Whoever dares to make a move, we must eliminate them all. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots to prevent future troubles." It was easy to think about, but it was difficult to truly recover. Currently, he was only at the primal chaos domain realm. Not to mention the primal chaos reincarnation realm, he had yet to break through the primal chaos life and death realm. If he wanted to break through the primal chaos life and death realm, he had to first comprehend the Tao of life and death. He felt helpless. The most important thing now was to think of a way to comprehend the Tao of life and death and break through the chaotic Tao of life and death. This time, Longao had returned to the first heavenly region to deal with the Devil Palace. The news had already spread throughout the primal chaos boundary that the Devil Palace had sent 2 elders, Black and White, who were also chaotic life and death realm warriors, to deal with him. If he did not take action, how could he face the Demon Palace? Returning to the array he had set up previously, what he had to do now was wait for the 2 chaotic Tao of life and death from the Demon Palace to arrive. At that time, no matter the price, he had to kill the 2 smoothly. After not being able to find Long Di for several months, Han Yin was very worried. She did not know where Long Di had gone. Others might not know, but how could she not know? The one who killed the two chaotic Tao of life and death from the Demon Palace was Long Di, and the Demon Palace had already sent two chaotic Tao of life and death. Even if Long Di was the reincarnation of an expert and his cultivation had recovered to the chaotic Tao of life and death, it was impossible for him to defeat two chaotic Tao of life and death by himself. It was complete nonsense. That was indeed the case. She had to find Long Di in the shortest time possible. The more she thought about it, the more afraid and worried she became. After all, Han Yin's identity was still there. She could still mobilize part of her power to secretly search for Long Di's whereabouts. Demon Palace, Domain Lord's Alliance, and Pill Hall, the three super forces, the chaotic battle spread throughout the primal chaos realm and the 99 heavenly regions. The most important battlefield was the first heavenly region, where the victory and defeat would be decided. No matter which side won, they would be able to dominate the primal chaos realm. Because of this, the three super forces would not choose to give up easily. Originally, they would not send chaotic Tao of life and death, but as the battle continued to escalate, all three super forces sent out chaotic Tao of life and death. Everyone knew very well what it meant for chaotic Tao of life and death to interfere in this matter. However, the battle had already reached this stage, and the three super forces were already in a killing frenzy. How could they choose to give up? The two elders Black and White were only looking for the person who killed the two chaotic Tao of life and death from the Demon Palace. As for the battle between the three super forces, the two did not interfere in this matter from the beginning to the end. The three super forces were very clear about what it meant when chaotic Tao of life and death intervened. After searching everywhere, not to mention finding the culprit, they did not even know who the culprit was. How could they not be angry? However, the two did not leave and continued to search everywhere. The Pill Hall and the Domain Lord's Alliance also didn't sit and wait for their deaths. Who knew if the Black and White elders sent by the Devil Palace would interfere in this matter? Just in case, both the Pill Hall and the Domain Lord's Alliance sent two chaotic life and death realm experts to watch over the Devil Palace's Black and White elders. As long as the Black and White elders dared to take action, the chaotic Tao of life and death from the Domain Lord's Alliance and Pill Hall would also go all out. You two are the Black and White elders from the Demon Palace? Looking at the youth who suddenly appeared in front of them, the two elders Black and White were very curious. This person was really daring to ask the two of them. However, the two did not immediately take action. Instead, they said, "Yes, we are. Why are you looking for us?" "Ha, that's right. I am looking for you too." Chapter 3197. What's the matter? Both of them were curious, not knowing why the other party was looking for them. The other party was only in the chaotic realm. Because of this, both of them did not put the other party in their eyes. What's the matter? I want your lives. Did he want both of their lives? Hearing this, the faces of the Black and White elders changed. It was as dark as it could get. You're courting death. Just as the two of them were about to kill the other party, Longao turned and disappeared. Ha 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 ha. Crazy laughter came from the 9 heavens, followed by Longao's voice. Enter my formation if you have the ability. Ha 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 ha. Formation. The other party was an array master. This was something that the Black and White elders had not expected. If it was just a chaotic realm martial artist, the two of them would not put him in their eyes. Even if they joined forces, any one of them could easily kill the other party. Only an array master was something that the two of them were wary of. An array master could not only kill enemies above his level, but he could also fight against 10,000 enemies alone. For the other party to be so confident, he must have something to rely on. If the two of them entered the formation rashly, they would not even have the chance to regret if an accident happened. What should they do? Ha ha ha, Demon Palace. These are the chaotic realm martial artists of Demon Palace. If I were you, I would kill myself. Listening to the other party's mockery, the faces of the black and white elders darkened. Kid, come out if you have the ability. What's the point of relying on a formation? Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. A few hours later, the first heavens were spreading the news that the two chaotic realm martial artists of Demon Palace had found the enemy but did not dare to attack. The reason was that the other party was an array master. It was almost impossible for an array master of the primal chaos domain to kill two primal chaos life and death warriors. Under normal circumstances, the two chaotic realm martial artists of Demon Palace did not need to be wary of the other party. But what was the result? Everyone was discussing animatedly, each and every one of them despised him to the extreme, especially the righteous path martial artists, who were even more exaggerated. On the other hand, the demonic path martial artists were also embarrassed. As chaotic realm martial artists of Demon Palace, the black and white elders were legends and idols of Demon Palace. But what was the result? The two elders did not dare to enter the formation set up by the other party. What did that mean? Disgrace. Of course, the black and white elders had also heard all kinds of rumors, but what else could they do? The other party was obviously deliberately luring them into the array formation. It would be a lie to say that they were not afraid. It was better to be safe than sorry. You should know what an array set up by a chaotic domain expert means. If anything goes wrong, the consequences will be unimaginable. Demon Palace's #1 formation master was without a doubt the Old Ancestor. Old Ancestor Mo Wutian was a genius. Not only was he a chaotic realm martial artist, but he was also a top formation master. Below Mo Wutian was Che Yuan, who was known as Demon Palace's #2 formation master. One could imagine what Che Yuan's formation skills meant. Not only that, Che Yuan was not only a top-notch array master, but also a chaotic life and death expert. Under normal circumstances, Che Yuan would not casually leave the Devil Palace. He would stay in the Devil Palace and cultivate in seclusion, or even research array techniques. Inside Demon Palace. Old Ancestor, to deal with a small chaotic realm martial artist, do I have to go personally besides black and white elders? Che Yuan could not understand. A small chaotic realm martial artist, even if he was a formation master, what did it mean? Black and white elders were asking Demon Palace for help. It was a pain in the ass. He was mocking black and white elders in his heart, but because of their status, Che Yuan could not say much. How could Mo Wutian not know what Che Yuan meant? After thinking for a while, Mo Wutian said, "You should know black and white elders' character better than me. If there is no other choice, black and white elders will not ask Demon Palace for help. Therefore, you should go. Remember, no matter what, you have to kill this person. Demon Palace's dignity cannot be violated. Demon Palace's dignity cannot be violated." Even if Che Yuan was unwilling, he could only go to the first sky since the Old Ancestor had said so. However, he did not put black and white elders in his eyes. In Che Yuan's opinion, apart from the Old Ancestor, he was the #1 formation master in the entire chaotic realm. Black and white elders were unhappy with Che Yuan's arrival. After all, this was the greatest insult to them. However, they could not do anything about it. "Brother Che, this person is up to you." With a cold snort, Che Yuan did not say anything else and went to the entrance of the formation, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Black and white elders' faces were gloomy. What's there to be arrogant about? If not for the Old Ancestor backing him up, we would have killed him back then. It's because of what happened back then that Che Yuan has been brooding over it. Be careful in everything you do. If this person finds an opportunity, we will be in trouble. You think I'm afraid of him? Everyone had their own ulterior motives. For the three chaotic realm experts, as long as the other party found an opportunity, they would not hesitate to kill the other party. Inside the formation, this time, Longao had arranged the formation above the original 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation. It was constantly strengthening and upgrading the formation. If it had been the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation alone, it definitely wouldn't have been able to smoothly kill the chaotic life and death warriors. However, the current situation was different. Longao had borrowed the special terrain of this place and gathered endless resentment. Because of this, Longao was full of confidence. As long as black and white elders dared to enter the formation, he was confident that he could kill them. However, what was the result? Black and white elders did not dare to enter the formation. This was the most troublesome thing. Without relying on the formation, it was impossible for him to be a match for black and white elders. Not to mention 2 chaotic realm experts joining hands, even if any one of them came out, he would not be a match for the other party. There was no doubt about this. Chapter 3198. You're the one who killed 2 Chaos Realm martial artists of my Devil Palace. Looking at this middle-aged man who had suddenly barged in, Longao's heart was filled with weariness. Not only was the other party a Chaos Life and Death Realm martial artist, he was also a strong formation master. To think that there would be such a strong formation master within the Devil Palace. He had miscalculated. So what if I am? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Che Yuan burst out laughing maniacally. After roaming the Chaos Realm for so many years, he had yet to meet someone as arrogant as this. This was the epitome of arrogance. If the other party was a Chaos Realm martial artist, even if he was just a Chaos Realm Life and Death Realm martial artist, he would still be arrogant for a bit. But now? Che Yuan could clearly sense that the other party was just a Chaos Realm martial artist. His face was filled with mockery. Che Yuan continued in disdain, a puny Chaos Realm martial artist who can set up a few formations dares to challenge the Devil Palace. Lad, I'll let you know what you are today. Before Che Yuan could even finish his words, Longao activated the formation. The moment the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation was activated, the entire formation fused together with the terrain of this place. The moment an expert made his move, one would know if he was the real deal. To think that you would be able to fuse with the terrain and vengeance of this place. As a top-class formation master, Che Yuan naturally knew what the other party was doing right now. This was indeed a talent. If he could take this man in as a disciple. That thought that had just appeared in his mind was immediately dispelled. That was a joke. The fact that the other party dared to kill 2 Chaos Realm martial artists of the Devil Palace meant that he must have come prepared. If it were anyone else, they would definitely not be able to withstand the attacks of the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation. But, Che Yuan was the only one. Che Yuan's formation skills were way above Longao's. This was something that both Che Yuan and Longao knew. In a short span of tens of minutes, Che Yuan had already broken through the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation. However, the other party had already disappeared. Brother Che, where is he? He should still be here. If I'm not wrong, he should have a space god weapon on him. Towards Che Yuan's formation skills, the black and white elders did not have any doubts. After all, the fact that Che Yuan could break through the formation of the other party in such a short period of time was more than enough to prove it. Immediately lock down all the space here. Of course, the black and white elders knew how serious the situation was. They didn't dare to hesitate at all. They immediately released their auras and covered the entire space. Inside the chaotic Dantian. Boss, we're in big trouble now. He nodded. How could Longao not know about Little Black's worries? If it was just the black and white elders, he wouldn't be worried at all. But now, the situation was completely different. With the help of Che Xiao, the 9 heavens 10 earths annihilation formation was completely broken in just a few minutes by the formation master. He had no way of contending against such a level of array formation. It was very solemn. He felt even more helpless. As expected of one of the 3 superpowers, the Demon Palace possessed a frightening foundation. Not only were there 2 chaotic life and death experts, but there was also a super array master like Che Yuan. Do you have any ideas? Boss, you're also an array master. You should know what an array master means, especially one like Che Yuan. It can be said that Che Yuan is the #1 expert under the primal chaos reincarnation. The true #1 expert. How could Longao not know about Tao Tai's words? Che Yuan was a chaotic life and death expert. Coupled with his powerful array formation skills, Che Yuan was the true #1 expert under the primal chaos reincarnation. It would be troublesome to deal with the chariot. The news of the demon palace sending out Che Yuan had already spread throughout the 99 heavens of the primal chaos realm. Che Yuan was a famous super-existence in the primal chaos realm. Back then, he relied on his array formation to fight against tens of thousands and killed countless chaotic life and death experts. No one expected that the demon palace would not only send out the 2 chaotic life and death experts to deal with the mysterious rogue cultivator, but they also sent out the legendary Che Yuan. With the 3 chaotic life and death experts of the demon palace working together, everyone knew what it meant. Even if the other party had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to resist the joint attack of 3 chaotic life and death experts. Inside the Pill Palace. Han Yin immediately returned to the Pill Palace after failing to find Brother Long. She hoped that her father could help her. Especially after hearing that the Demon Palace sent out Che Yuan to deal with Brother Long, she became increasingly worried. Han Yin was well aware of what a carriage shaft meant. And the result? Han Yin definitely wouldn't agree, especially at this time. Without any other choice, Han Yin could only use her identity to find as many people as she could. After all, the first heavenly region was too big. It wasn't easy to find a single person's trace. In the courtyard. Big brother, are you not going to help me? Han Feng smiled and said, Little Yin, you're too worried. You should know Brother Long's situation better than anyone else. Since Brother Long dares to deal with the Demon Palace, he must be confident. If something happens to you, not only will you not be able to help Brother Long, you'll even drag him down. How could Han Yin not know what her big brother meant? Knowing was one thing, but it would be a lie if she said that she wasn't worried. After all, the Demon Palace had sent out 3 chaotic life and death experts, and one of them was the legend of Che Yuan. Big brother, I know this is the case, but Brother Long has always been alone. Little Yin, listen to me. Brother Long will definitely be fine. If I'm not wrong, Brother Long must be planning to deal with the Demon Palace this time to restore himself as a chaotic reincarnation expert. Although he didn't want to believe it, Han Feng was very clear that the gap between him and Longao was getting bigger and bigger. They weren't even on the same level. Not to mention whether the other party was the reincarnation of an expert, just Longao's current strength was not something he could compare to. However, Han Feng didn't feel the slightest bit of jealousy in his heart. Instead, he admired the other party. No matter who it wasn't easy to reach this step. Then, are we just going to sit here and wait for death? Other than that, there's no other way. I've already said that you won't be able to find Brother Long. Rather than that, it's better to stay here and observe the situation. If anything happens to you, what will my father and I, including Brother Long, do? You have to be clear about the severity of the matter. Han Yin's expression changed again and again. In the end, she shook her head and said with a nod, if that's the case, then this is the only way. I hope Brother Long will be fine in the end. She absolutely couldn't implicate her father and Brother Long otherwise. She wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Chapter 3199. Brother Che, are you confident? The two were quite confident in Che Yuan's formation skills. However, it was clear that the other party had come prepared. Otherwise, he would have been able to disappear under the combined efforts of the 3 of them. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Che Yuan's face was very gloomy as he said unhappily, if you don't believe me, you can do it yourselves. The 2 sides had grievances. If not for Mo Wutian mediating between them, they would have fought long ago. Black and white elders were instantly enraged, but for the sake of the big picture, the 2 endured. They didn't say anything else. After spending 3 whole months, Che Yuan set up a super formation so that he could lock onto the opponent's spatial artifact. The formation was activated. Everywhere was covered by the formation's aura. Che Yuan began a carpet search. According to Che Yuan's confidence, it would be a matter of minutes to lock onto the opponent's position with his formation. But the result? After 10 whole days, he still couldn't find any trace of the opponent. Che Yuan even thought that the opponent had left. If that was the case, then no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't lock onto the opponent's position. It was complete nonsense. 3 dignified chaotic life and death realm cultivators, in addition to his own proficiency in array formations, could not even kill a mere chaotic domain cultivator. Disgrace. An enormous disgrace. Not to mention Che Yuan, even black and white elders' faces were gloomy. If they couldn't kill this person, not to mention how they would explain to the old ancestor when they returned to Demon Palace, just their face would be lost. Can't lock onto him? Che Yuan had long lost his previous arrogance. The truth was in front of him. He nodded and said, "According to my guess, this person should still be here. However, his spatial artifact is too heaven-defying. Even my formation can't lock onto his position." How could black and white elders not know about Che Yuan's words? The situation was very troublesome. What should they do? Then what should we do now? Che Yuan thought for a moment and said, "This person dares to provoke Demon Palace. He's relying on his powerful spatial artifact." Nonsense. Black and white elders sneered in their hearts. This matter isn't simple. For some reason, Che Yuan felt that something was wrong. The opponent didn't just want to provoke Demon Palace. Was it just for the righteous faction? It was complete nonsense. The Devil Palace wasn't just made up of Devil Dao martial artists. As one of the 3 super forces of the Chaos Realm, the Devil Palace's strength and foundation were obvious. Even the other 2 superpowers did not dare to casually provoke the Demon Palace, let alone an individual. Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't believe that he didn't have a motive. However, he still couldn't guess what the other party's goal was. Should he inform the ancestor? He really couldn't afford to lose this face. As dignified chaotic life and death martial artists, they couldn't even deal with a mere chaotic domain martial artist even after joining forces. If they were to inform the old ancestor and ask for help from the Devil Palace, it would be too disgusting. In a head-on confrontation, they were naturally not afraid of the other party. However, the situation now was obviously different. The other party didn't dare to come out at all. They were just hiding inside the Starry Sky Divine tool. In this case, they could only watch helplessly and couldn't do anything. Inside the chaotic Dantian, Longao couldn't help but sigh. Truly, there was always someone better than you. Within the Devil Palace, other than Mo Wutian, Che Yuan's array skills were enough to sweep through the entire primal chaos world. Back then, Mo Wutian was hailed as the #1 array master in the primal chaos realm. Dealing with Che Yuan was not an easy task. Longao knew very well that it was almost impossible for him to defeat Che Yuan in array skills. Even if he recovered his strength to the peak, it was still a little impossible. "Boss, what should we do now?" Blackie and the others also knew the seriousness of the matter. If they continued to stay, not only would they be unable to kill the chaotic life and death martial artist, they would even go for wool and come home shorn. It was precisely because of this that there was no need to stay. Yi Xuan sighed deeply. He was only in the chaotic domain realm. If he could recover to the chaotic life and death martial artist realm, then even if Che Yuan's array skills were far above his, he wouldn't be helpless. The current situation was very troublesome. Facing Che Yuan, he had no way to deal with him. The 9 heavens 10 earths killing array that he had painstakingly arranged, which was supposed to be able to kill chaotic life and death realm martial artists, had been completely destroyed by Che Yuan in less than a few minutes. From this, one could imagine how amazing Che Yuan's array formation skills were. Leave? If he chose to give up so easily, Longao was very unwilling in his heart. If Che Yuan had not interfered, then he could have killed the two chaotic life and death martial artists, which would have been a heavy blow to the Devil Palace. If he didn't leave, then there was no point in staying. In the end, whether to leave or stay, Longao couldn't decide at this moment. At this time, the Heaven Remote Devil Flame said, "Boss, although Che Yuan is powerful, he can't casually arrange an array. Moreover, we can lure the tiger away from the mountain. While luring Che Yuan away, we can deal with black and white with all our strength." Joy immediately appeared on his face. How could Longao not know what the Heaven Remote Devil Flame said? At this time, luring the tiger away from the mountain was the best method. However, Longao was even more clear that luring Che Yuan away was not an easy task. Che Yuan and the other two were not fools. How could they be so easily fooled? However, at this time, the Heaven Remote Devil Flame continued, "Boss, according to my observations, this Che Yuan is not on good terms with black and white. If I'm not wrong, there must be some enmity between the two." At this point, the Heaven Remote Devil Flame did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning of the Heaven Remote Devil Flame's words? Since that was the case, he had to give it a try. If he succeeded in luring Che Yuan away, then he could smoothly kill black and white. As for dealing with Che Yuan, now was not the time. It was a little unrealistic. Right now, the most important thing was to think of a way to lure Che Yuan to deal with black and white. This matter could not be seen through by the three. Otherwise, there would only be one result, and all his previous efforts would be wasted. Longao was very confident in his own chaotic dantian. Not to mention dealing with a chaotic life and death martial artist, even if Mo Wutian recovered to his peak, it was unknown if he could lock onto his chaotic dantian. Precisely because of this, Longao was not worried that the other side could lock onto him. If they could lock onto him, they would have done so long ago. Why wait until now? P.S. The weather is too hot, and I'm suffering from heat stroke. I'm barely able to update 2 chapters a day. Everyone, please forgive me. If the weather improves tomorrow, Little 9 will definitely update more. Chapter 3200. It was a joke for Demon Palace to send out 3 chaotic life and death experts to deal with a rogue cultivator. According to normal circumstances, 3 chaotic life and death experts working together to deal with a rogue cultivator was more than enough. It could be done in minutes. But the result? This rogue cultivator had a heaven-defying chaos space divine tool. Even if the 3 of them worked together, they couldn't even lock onto his position, let alone kill him. What kind of concept was that? Once this matter came out, it completely shook the entire chaos realm. The Devil Palace had truly lost all face this time. Second Sky Region. Inside Demon Palace. Mo Wutian's face was gloomy when he received the news. His intuition told him that the other party was deliberately targeting Demon Palace. Could it be Longao? Looking at the Chaos Realm, Longao's Chaos Palace was the most likely to be able to avoid the chaotic life and death experts, especially the space divine tool that could lock onto the carriage shaft. Especially. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of anyone who dared to provoke Demon Palace again and again. They even sent out 3 chaotic life and death experts, and the other party didn't show any fear. Apart from Longao, he couldn't think of anyone else. Mo Wutian immediately left Demon Palace with Judas and rushed to the First Sky Region with the fastest speed. If the other party was really Longao, then he would use this opportunity to kill him and take back what belonged to him. The battle between the 3 super forces was still escalating. Gu Hao, who was the fuse, had disappeared ever since the 3 super forces started fighting. Gu Hao's intention was actually very simple. He wanted to watch the fire from the other side and reap the benefits in the end. Gu Hao wasn't a fool. He was very clear that with the strength and foundation of Thunder Heavenly Region, they couldn't contend against any of the 3 super forces. he was preparing for the worst. If he rashly interfered in the battle, Demon Palace, Domain Lord Alliance, and Pill Hall would join hands to deal with him. At that time, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Ever since he lost the 9 types of strange flames, Gu Hao had been searching for them with all his might. Who dared to be so daring as to go against him? Gu Hao was very clear about what the 9 types of strange flames meant. If he could subdue the 9 types of strange flames, once the chaos reincarnation was restored, not only would he have the chance to prove his Tao, but he would also be invincible in the same realm. But now? Everything was nonsense. 9 types of deviant flames had been carelessly lost. How could he not be angry? But so what if he was angry? Regarding the matter of losing the 9 types of heavenly fire, Gu Hao did not dare to leak it out. In the primal chaos realm, there were only a total of 23 types of deviant flames. Every heavenly flame was a supreme treasure of the chaos realm. As long as one could obtain one of the heavenly flames, they would possess unparalleled power. After all, the other party was not a fool. How could they be so easily fooled? In the end, Longao could only choose to personally lead the carriage away. But before that, he prepared to rearrange the 9 heavens and 10 earths killing array. With just him, Little Black, and the others, it was impossible to kill a chaos life and death martial artist. You want to leave? Just as he was trying to figure out a way to lock onto the other party's carriage, he suddenly saw the other party leaving swiftly. His face turned cold, and he quickly followed behind the other party. Naturally, the black and white elders wouldn't stay behind by themselves. After all, the main reason they were here was to kill the other party. The 3 chaotic life and death experts chased after him. What he was afraid of came true. Just as Longao chased after him, in less than 10 minutes, he had already entered a super formation. This is bad. As soon as he stepped into the formation, Longao had already guessed what had happened. It seemed that Che Yuan had set up the formation before to deal with him. He had even prepared to use it to lure the tiger away from the mountain, but he didn't expect that the other party would set up a trap for him. It was just as Longao had guessed. Ever since Che Yuan discovered that the formation he had set up couldn't lock onto the other party, he began to set up formations in the surroundings. In the 4 directions of north, south, east, and west, he set up a formation each. This way, no matter which direction he went, he would be instantly drawn into the formation. Che Yuan had full confidence in the formation he had set up. He was only afraid that the other party wouldn't enter. Once he entered the formation, he would be the master. He could kill the other party whenever he wanted. Outside the formation. Seeing the other party enter the formation he had set up, Che Yuan was overjoyed. "Brother Che, do you need our help?" "Help?" Che Yuan wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew what black and white meant. They didn't believe that he could kill the other party. Furious, he said coldly, "I'm the one who trapped this person. Whether or not I can kill him is my business. It has nothing to do with you guys." Che Yuan, don't be too arrogant. No matter how good their temper was, they couldn't take it anymore. After all, Che Yuan had provoked them time and time again. No one could take it, not to mention their status. Ignoring the 2 of them, Che Yuan sneered, "The 2 of you should rejoice. If not for the old ancestors' obstruction, you guys would be dead by now. Don't think that you're invincible just because the 2 of you work together. I can tell you that under the chaos of reincarnation, I, Che Yuan, am the strongest. You guys are nothing in front of me." Humiliation, a naked humiliation. You're courting death. Ha 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 ha. Unafraid of the 2 of them, Che Yuan laughed maniacally. "You guys had better not strike out. Otherwise, even if the old ancestor tries to stop me, I'll kill you guys." Suppressing the rage in their hearts, black and white elders chose to hold it in. Both of them had no confidence in facing Che Yuan. After all, Che Yuan was known as the number 1 under the chaos of reincarnation. He was also the number 2 formation master in the chaos world. Even if the two of them worked together, they might not be a match for him. Che Yuan, you'd better remember this. We'll make you pay for what you did today. With just the two of you? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Laughing maniacally once more, his laughter was filled with mockery and disdain. Che Yuan was arrogant. In his opinion, unless a martial artist from the chaos of reincarnation were to descend, no one in the entire chaos world would be a match for him. He was the number one under the chaos of reincarnation. And it was because of this that Che Yuan dared to provoke the two of them. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't even be able to suck up to them, let alone provoke them. This was power. No matter where one went, power was the key. Chapter 3201. Che Yuan didn't waste any more words. He stepped into the formation, ready to kill his opponent. Seeing Che Yuan disappear into the formation, Elder Black and Elder White's face was very gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Are we going to be controlled by him forever? So what? Elder Black sighed deeply and said helplessly, Che Yuan's formation can't be countered by anyone other than the old ancestor. We didn't succeed in killing him, but now it's difficult. He regretted it. But what was the use of regretting it now? Back then, Elder Black and Elder White did have a chance to kill Che Yuan, but Mo Wutian had appeared. No matter how unwilling they were, they could only choose to give up. Che Yuan had grown to a point where they couldn't contend with him. Number one under the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Don't we have a chance at all? You really want to kill Che Yuan? Elder Hei's expression changed. He knew very well what killing Che Yuan meant. Che Yuan wasn't just a Chaos Life and Death warrior, he was also the number 2 formation master in the Chaos realm. The old ancestor valued Che Yuan greatly. If not for the old ancestor's intervention, Che Yuan would have died back then. Why wait until now? Elder White snorted and said coldly, if I don't kill Che Yuan, I'm not human. Che Yuan was a powerful formation master, but he couldn't be on guard against the two at all times. If Elder Black and Elder White were always prepared, who knew what would happen? After Che Yuan entered the array, he coldly looked at the young man in front of him and coldly said, you are really arrogant. You actually dared to provoke the Devil Palace. Do you think that you are invincible just because you have a spatial divine item? Seeing that the youth didn't speak, Che Yuan thought he was afraid and mocked him even more. Kid, what's your goal? Che Yuan wasn't a fool. How could an ordinary wandering cultivator dare to provoke Demon Palace? It was complete nonsense. Indeed. Che Yuan was almost certain that the youth had a motive for attacking Demon Palace. What makes you think you can find out? Endless anger. You're at death's door, and yet you're still so stubborn. I'll kill you first and search your soul. I'll see if I have the rights. Without even activating the formation, Che Yuan was a true Chaos Life and Death warrior, while the other party was just a Chaos Realm warrior. The difference between the two was huge. They weren't even on the same level. A Chaos Life and Death warrior against a Chaos Realm warrior was just a matter of minutes. But the result? Not only was there no fear in Long Che, he even took the initiative. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were already engaged in a fierce battle. He had originally thought that he could kill the other party in an instant, but he had never imagined that the other party's strength had already exceeded his understanding. Was this the strength that a primal chaos domain cultivator should possess? If he hadn't experienced it himself, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Let's not talk about other people's opinions. Even he himself despised himself a little. Boom! 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 But one had to admit that Longao was strong indeed. To think that he could take on a life and death warrior head-on. The biggest reason was that the two Daos that Longao had comprehended earlier on were the strongest Daos. Furthermore, they were supported by the Chaos Axe. But Longao knew clearly that he wouldn't be able to hold on for long with his current strength. If this went on, he wouldn't be a match for Che Yuan. the formation that Che Yuan had set up was extremely strange. It could lock him into his chaotic dantian. In other words, unless he wanted to leave, he wouldn't be able to enter his chaotic dantian. No matter how much he thought about it, he never expected that Che Yuan would do this to him. It was truly a miscalculation. Trying to leave? Seeing that the other party was trying to leave, Che Yuan couldn't care less about his face. He activated the formation and attacked Longao madly. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't even be able to last 3 minutes against such a horrifying formation. Only Longao laughed coldly. Longao had already reached a high level of attainment in the study of formations. Therefore, it was impossible for Che Yuan to kill him with the help of his formation. The more he fought, the more shocked and incredulous he felt. Be it in terms of strength or formations, the other party had already reached an extremely high level. It was hard to imagine that if this person was given enough time to grow, even Che Yuan wouldn't be able to take him down. Che Yuan was afraid now. A talent like this was enough to reign supreme in the chaos world. He attacked even more madly. After an hour, even Longao was starting to falter. But thankfully, Xiao He and the others were sneak attacks, keeping Che Yuan busy. Is this a strange flame? Feeling the power of the other party's attack, Che Yuan instantly guessed that this flame was most likely the legendary deviant flame. He just didn't know what kind of deviant flame the other party possessed. After all, there were 23 types of deviant flames in the primal chaos realm. But no matter what kind of strange flame it was, the temptation was there. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't greedy. Che Yuan couldn't wait to get this strange flame. Che Yuan was completely flabbergasted. Because he'd never imagined that Chen Shi didn't just possess one type of flame, he even possessed a second type. What sort of concept was that? He was very surprised. He knew that if he could get 2 strange flames, it would be a great help to his strength and formation. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want it. However, Che Yuan didn't dare to touch the strange flame. Although he had never seen a strange flame, he had heard all kinds of legends about it. If he touched it, he would probably ignite himself. He didn't want to be burned to death by a strange flame. Just like that, both of them were apprehensive and the battle entered a stalemate. However, Che Yuan wasn't worried at all. In any case, the other party was in his formation. He had the complete initiative in this battle. The most important thing was to successfully kill the other party and take the 2 strange flames. This time, he was the most important. At first, Che Yuan didn't want to come. After all, this was a matter between the Black and White Elders. However, the result was far beyond his expectations. He never thought that he would be able to encounter 2 types of mystical flames. It was simply a pleasant surprise. At this moment, Che Yuan didn't have the slightest regret. Instead, he was extremely excited. How could Longao not know what Che Yuan was thinking? If he didn't know, he wouldn't have summoned the heavenly devil flame and Xiaohua to help him. This was the effect he wanted. Chapter 3202. As time continued to pass, Che Yuan began to realize that something was wrong. If this went on, what would happen to his reputation if he couldn't kill the other party? Was he really going to ask for help from the Black and White Elders? If it was something else, Che Yuan wouldn't do this. Only this matter. If he didn't summon the Black and White Elders, it would be difficult to kill this person. However, Che Yuan had his own selfishness. If the Black and White Elders knew about this, the 2 heavenly flames would definitely be known by the old ancestor. At that time, it would be impossible for him to monopolize the 2 heavenly flames. How could he be willing? In the end, Che Yuan chose to give up. The meaning was simple. He wanted to kill this person alone and monopolize the 2 heavenly flames in his hands. If it was something else, he definitely wouldn't fight with the old ancestor. Only the heavenly flames were too tempting. Che Yuan was almost certain that once the old ancestor found out that the other party had 2 types of deviant flames, he would definitely take them for himself. At that time, not to mention obtaining 2 types of deviant flames, it would be unknown if he could even obtain 1 type of deviant flame. It wasn't an unknown, it was simply impossible. Under the continuous attacks, Longao also began to gradually be unable to withstand it. This couldn't go on. What should he do? If it was just facing Che Yuan, it would be fine. With his chaotic dantian, he could leave whenever he wanted. But the situation now was obviously different. The other party had set up a formation that could imprison his body and prevent him from entering his chaotic dantian. Under such circumstances, it would be difficult for him to leave smoothly. He had to leave as soon as possible. Longao was very clear that the current situation was too passive for him. Once the black and white elders attacked him at the same time, he would be in big trouble. He had to leave as soon as possible. Outside the formation. Several hours had passed, but the black and white elders still hadn't seen Che Yuan come out with the other party's body. Could there be an accident? It was a bit ridiculous. After all, Che Yuan's strength and formation skills were there. It was more than enough to deal with a small chaotic domain warrior. If there was an accident, Che Yuan would have come out long ago. Why wait until now? In that case. Then what was going on? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. What should we do now? Why don't we go in and take a look? There can't be any accidents. Otherwise, not to mention our face, just the demon palace can't afford to lose face. Thinking of this, the black and white duo did not continue to wait. With a stride forward, they instantly disappeared from the array. What's going on? Both the black elder and the white elder were completely shocked when they saw the 2 people fighting. They had never thought that Che Yuan would still be unable to finish off his opponent. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it even if they were beaten to death. The 2 of them were well aware of Che Yuan's strength. He was the strongest person under primal chaos reincarnation. Otherwise, the 2 of them wouldn't have been so afraid of him. They wouldn't have been afraid of Che Yuan's constant provocations. Apart from having a spatial artifact, the other party's strength was nothing to worry about. It was just the primal chaos domain. The difference between the chaos domain and the chaos life and death was too great. The 2 were not on the same level at all. The 2 of them didn't know what was going on. However, their expressions changed abruptly because they saw the 2 mysterious flames in each other's hands at the same time. They knew better than anyone else what mysterious flames meant. Seeing the black and white elders suddenly appear, Che Yuan was shocked. Of course, he knew what it meant for the black and white elders to see the 2 deviant flames. He was originally full of confidence that he could smoothly kill the other party and obtain the 2 deviant flames. It was a pleasant surprise. But he never thought that not only did he fail to kill the other party, but the black and white elders would also rush over. In this way, it would be impossible for him to keep the 2 deviant flames to himself. He would definitely give them to the old ancestor. How could he not be angry? But what could he do in this situation? Even if he was unwilling, he wouldn't dare to snatch the 2 deviant flames from the old ancestor. Since the 2 of them were already here, he would join forces to deal with this person. This person has the help of 2 deviant flames. It's very troublesome. Let's attack together. Attack together? The black and white elders looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. They were genuine primal chaos life and death. If they joined forces to deal with this person, where would their dignity go? Until now, the 2 of them still couldn't understand. Even if this person had the help of 2 deviant flames, he was still in the primal chaos domain. How could he fight against Che Yuan? However, as members of the Devil Palace, the 2 of them were almost certain that Che Yuan wouldn't betray them no matter what. Just at this moment, Longao suddenly spoke up, "Che Yuan, the 2 of them have already fallen for it. Let's join forces and get rid of them quickly. By then, you and I will each get one of the deviant flames." If it were anyone else from the Devil Palace, the Black and White Elders would definitely not have doubted it. But Che Yuan was the only one who had a grudge with them to begin with. Coupled with the temptation of the two deviant flames, the two of them chose to believe him. Whether or not they were being selfish, no one else other than the two of them would know. Che Yuan, so you're a traitor. Today, the two of us will help the old ancestor clean up the sect. They didn't give Che Yuan any chance to speak. If they could kill Che Yuan at the same time as they killed the other party, it would be killing two birds with one stone. The two of them even decided that they would each keep one of the deviant flames and not hand it over to the old ancestor. Every man for himself and the devil takes the hindmost. Everyone would be selfish. Che Yuan was no fool. How could he not understand the intentions of the Black and White Elders? His heart was filled with rage. Endless killing intent. Ha 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 ha. Che Yuan laughed out maniacally. With a domineering aura, he roared out madly, "Black and White, you two shameless things. You want to use this chance to deal with me? Ha 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 ha. Just the two of you? I'll kill you both today. Ha ha ha." Che Yuan was full of confidence. Even if he were to face the Black and White Elders at the same time, he wouldn't be afraid at all. Especially in the formation that he had set up. If he could use this chance to kill the Black and White Elders, it would be a pretty good thing. Looking at the situation, Longao's heart leaped with joy. Seemed like the Heaven You Devil Flames guess was right. There was a barrier between the two of them. He had succeeded in sowing discord this time. P.S. I recommend Watermelon Cow God's latest masterpiece, Dragon Blood Berserk Master. It's very hot-blooded. Go check it out. Chapter 3203. They had succeeded in sowing discord. Both Black and White were already attacking Che Yuan madly. The both of them did not care about the other party at all. In their eyes, as long as they could kill Che Yuan, dealing with this person would be a piece of cake. In the blink of an eye, the three of them were already engaged in a life and death battle. It was obvious that they wanted to kill each other. Looking at the three of them fighting, Longao was elated. This was the effect he wanted. The best outcome. Both sides would be severely injured. No matter who won or lost, he could just sit back and reap the benefits. He did not try to leave either. Longao was no fool. He knew that if he were to make any movements, he would definitely attract the attention of the three of them. If they were to join forces against him instead of fighting each other, then he would have dug his own grave. He stood where he was and watched silently. The battle escalated continuously. Both sides were giving it their all. By the end, the entire formation was shaking. The strength of Black and White was there for all to see. Any one of them might not be a match for Che Yuan. But if Black and White were to join forces, it would be a different story altogether. An hour later, there was a loud explosion. It rang through the 9 heavens and shook the clouds. The three of them were sent flying, each of them severely injured. Of course, the three of them knew what it meant for them to be severely injured. When the snipe and the clam fought, the fishermen would reap the benefits. Things were bad. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Boss, seems like we've gotten lucky this time around. Not only Black, but even Longao was laughing out. Indeed, what they had hoped for had come. You! Without waiting for Che Yuan to speak, Longao had already attacked. With the help of Xiao He and the others, killing the three of them was not a difficult task. It was effortless to kill the three of them. From the start till the end, the three of them had not expected this to be the outcome. But now, they did not even have the chance to regret. Longao did not devour the powers of the three of them. He gave all of it to Black and White. Devouring the powers of the three life and death chaotic beings, Black and White benefited immensely. Boss, what about the corpses of the three? Same as before. If it had been anyone else, they would not have dared to do such a thing even if they were given 10,000 guts. Only Longao was fearless. Since he dared to kill the three of them, he was already prepared to go all out against the Devil Palace. However, now that Xiaochen thought about it, even if he did not kill those three, he would still be at odds with the demonic palace. It was either you die or I die. Have you heard? The three chaotic life and death warriors of the demon palace have all been killed by the mysterious rogue martial artist. Even Che Yuan did not escape. Ah! Everyone who heard the news turned pale with fright. They couldn't believe it at all. It was just that the corpses of the three chaotic life and death martial artists had been hung outside the demon palace camp. Many people had seen this, and even if they didn't want to admit it, the truth was right in front of them. They had no choice but to believe. He was truly a madman. At first, everyone had thought that the other party was only a chaotic domain warrior. Not to mention facing three chaotic life and death realm warriors at the same time, even one of them wouldn't be a match for the other party. But what was the result? Facing three chaotic life and death experts at the same time, this person directly killed all of them, not leaving a single one alive. What did this mean? It meant that this person was also a chaotic life and death expert, and a super expert at that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill the three of them at the same time. The other two elders aside, only Che Yuan was known as the #1 formation master of the Chaos Domain. Many people didn't know Mo Wutian's formation skills, so everyone in the Chaos Domain recognized Che Yuan as the #1 formation master. The #1 formation master and the two elders were actually not a match for the enemy. Many people began to speculate that this rogue martial artist was very likely a chaotic reincarnation realm warrior. If that was the case, the Demon Palace was in big trouble this time. Pill Hall. When Han Yun heard Han Feng's report, his expression changed again and again. He sighed and said, Longao is really strong. He actually killed three chaotic life and death experts at the same time, including Che Yuan. Previously, the old ancestor told me not to interfere, but I didn't believe him. I didn't expect Longao to really do it. Han Feng was also amazed. He said in shock, Father, Longao killed Che Yuan and the other two. If nothing unexpected happens, Mo Wutian will definitely not let this matter rest. The current Longao hasn't recovered to his peak strength. How can he be a match for Mo Wutian? You don't have to worry about this. After thinking for a while, Han Yun continued, the old ancestor said before that Longao and Mo Wutian have fought countless times. Mo Wutian can't do anything to Longao, so you don't have to worry about Longao's safety. Han Feng was just asking. How could he be worried about Longao's safety? The fact that Longao was able to become a chaotic reincarnation realm warrior in his previous life was already proof enough. It was just that Han Feng couldn't figure out the reason why Longao could kill three people. After all, the current Longao hadn't recovered to his peak. Wanting to kill three chaotic life and death experts in the chaotic domain was simply nonsense. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure out what was going on. Father, Littleine really did it this time. Waving his hand, before Han Feng could finish, Han Yun said, it's still unknown what will happen in the future. What's going on? Han Feng didn't understand. No matter who it was, they would be satisfied with Longao's performance. With a deep sigh, Han Yun said helplessly, according to the old ancestor, Longao's talent was extraordinary. Not only was he the #1 person in the chaotic reincarnation realm, he even created the 9 revolution chaos technique. Back then, he only broke through the 7th revolution of the 9 revolution chaos technique and reached the peak of the chaotic reincarnation realm. You can imagine if he could break through the 8th or even the 9th revolution. Han Yun didn't continue, but the meaning in his words was clear. Many chaotic reincarnation realm warriors are thinking about Longao. You should be able to imagine that Longao won't have a good life in the future. How could Han Feng not understand the meaning in his father's words? He said helplessly, don't tell me you want to separate Littleine and Longao. Han Feng liked Longao very much. He was also willing to give his sister to Longao. However, he knew that if his father didn't agree, everything else would be nonsense. Han Yan shook his head and said, "I won't agree or disagree. I'll let them develop. As for how far they will go in the future, it will depend on Longao." Chapter 3204. Looking at the three corpses in front of him. Mo Wutian's face was extremely gloomy, as ugly as it could get. Chaotic samsara warriors were not cabbages that could be found on the street. Not to mention losing 3 chaotic life and death experts at the same time, even losing one of them was an unacceptable fact for the Devil Palace. 3 chaotic samsara warriors had died at the same time, including Che Yuan. Mo Wutian had placed great importance on Che Yuan. In the beginning, Mo Wutian had always thought that the one who dealt with Demon Palace was Longao. But from the looks of it now, it seemed a little unlikely. Although Longao was a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist, he could only recover to the primal chaos domain realm at the fastest speed. Not to mention killing Che Yuan and the other 2 at the same time, it was unknown if he could even contend against one of them. Ancestor, could this person be a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist? How could Mo Wutian not know what Mo Wufeng meant? If he's a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator, he won't just be able to deal with Che Yuan and the others. Even the entire Devil Palace won't be his match. Mo Wutian was almost certain that this was not the work of a samsara warrior. There was no doubt about it. Old ancestor, what do you mean? That's right. If I'm not wrong, this person should be a samsara warrior and an array master. Mo Wufeng thought for a while, then nodded in agreement. Mo Wufeng's face was very ugly. As the palace master of Demon Palace, he placed great importance on the benefits of Demon Palace. He was completely different from Mo Wutian, who could sacrifice the entire Demon Palace for cultivation. To lose 3 samsara warriors at once, it would be a lie to say that it did not hurt. Under such circumstances, compared to the other 2 superpowers, Demon Palace was clearly behind. After all, the loss of 3 samsara warriors was a huge blow to Demon Palace. Old ancestor, what should we do now? This person's strength is not to be underestimated. He should be the strongest warrior under the samsara realm. I'm just 1 step away from returning to my peak, so I'll do my best to break through. Old ancestor, how long will it take? 3 years. Only 3 years. To a chaotic martial artist, 3 years was not a long time. It was a period that passed in the blink of an eye. Mo Wufeng was overjoyed. He knew very well what it meant for the old ancestor to break through to the primal chaos reincarnation state. As for how to deal with this person, there was no one in the entire Devil Palace who was a match for him, including the old ancestor. Being able to kill Che Yuan and the other 2 at the same time was enough to explain everything. Now, it was up to the old ancestor. This was delayed for 3 years. As long as the other party did not attack the Devil Palace within 3 years, everything would be fine. After killing Che Yuan and the other 2, Longao did his best to help Xiao He and the others recover. This time, it devoured the power of Che Yuan and the others. Blackie and the rest had recovered well, and all of them had reached the primal chaos domain. They were not much different from Longao, and were only 1 step away from breaking through the primal chaos life and death realm. This step. It could be said to be both simple and difficult. Boss, if all of our cultivation bases can recover to the chaotic samsara realm, we'll be able to roam the primal chaos realm unhindered as long as we don't meet any primal chaos samsara realm martial artists. How could Longao not know what Blackie meant? It's just that it's not easy to comprehend the Tao of life and death. Boss, I have a way to let you recover to the chaotic samsara realm as soon as possible. What way? Hearing that the heavenly tranquil devil flame had a way to let him recover to the chaotic samsara realm, Longao asked impatiently. Not only Longao, but even Blackie and the others were impatient. Only when one's cultivation base recovered to the chaotic samsara realm could they work towards the chaotic samsara realm. Therefore, the chaotic samsara realm was the key. Apart from this, given his current strength, he could only rely on the power of the array formation to kill a chaotic samsara martialist. Otherwise, it wouldn't be easy to kill a chaotic samsara martialist. Once his cultivation base broke through to the chaotic samsara realm, coupled with Blackie and the others, he would be able to easily kill any chaotic samsara realm martial artist. Boss, you've already obtained 13 types of mysterious flames. Although you haven't gathered all 23 types, you're already the #1 person in the primal chaos realm. Longao did not say anything and just listened quietly. Of course, he knew that there were 23 types of mysterious flames in the primal chaos realm. He had successfully obtained 13 of them. This was absolutely unprecedented in the primal chaos realm. However, Longao still could not figure out what the 13 types of mysterious flames had to do with him being able to break through to the chaotic samsara realm. Heavenly Tranquil, if you have something to say, just say it. You're making me want to die. Tao Tai had a gloomy face. They might have been enemies before, but no matter what, they now had a boss. Therefore, no matter what happened in the past, their relationship was very harmonious now. The heavenly tranquil devil flame smiled and said, "Boss, apart from the chaotic flame, the remaining 12 types of mysterious flames can help you fully comprehend the Tao of life and death." You can do that? This was something unheard of. If not for the heavenly tranquil devil flame's words, Longao would never have thought that he could rely on mysterious flames to comprehend the Tao of life and death. In that case, he only needed to comprehend the Tao of life and death from one mysterious flame. Why would he need to comprehend 12 mysterious flames at the same time? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, the heavenly tranquil devil flame smiled and said, "Boss, a single mysterious flame cannot help you comprehend the Tao of life and death unless you have more than 10 types. Not only that, as long as you can rely on our power to comprehend the Tao of life and death, you can not only reach the chaotic samsara realm, but also possess supreme fire power." Longao was still confused and did not know what it meant. However, according to the heavenly tranquil devil flame, he would naturally understand everything when he comprehended the Tao of life and death with the help of the 12 types of mysterious flames and broke through to the chaotic samsara realm. In fact, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. Any one of the 12 types of heavenly flames was a supreme existence. The Tao of life and death that he comprehended with the help of the 12 types of mysterious flames was definitely different from other chaotic samsara realm experts. The more this was the case, the more Longao looked forward to it. He could not wait to start comprehending the Tao of life and death with the help of the mysterious flames. "Boss, if you're willing, we can immediately start comprehending the Tao of life and death." Chapter 3205. How could Longao not be willing? Longao was more anxious than anyone else to comprehend the Tao of life and death, especially now that he had completely fallen out with Mo Wutian. In addition, Nan Gongyin and godly mathematician. Without the slightest hesitation, Longao began to comprehend the Tao of life and death. Inside the chaotic Dantian, the 12 types of heavenly flames surrounded Longao. There was no need to mention Xiaohua and the heart-burning lotus. As for the rest of the heavenly flames, they were all controlled by the heavenly demonic flame. "Boss, why don't you take advantage of this opportunity to completely master the flame of chaos?" Even the heavenly demonic flame did not have any understanding of the flame of chaos. Of the 23 types of heavenly flames in the chaos realm, the flame of chaos was ranked first. No one had ever seen the flame of chaos. They had only heard of it in the legends. The flame of chaos was the earliest power born in the chaos realm. It could destroy the world and even the entire chaos realm. They had never seen it before, let alone master it. Nodding. How could Longao not know what the heavenly demonic flame meant? He smiled and said, "With the help of the chaos tree, there won't be any problems." The chaos tree was the #1 divine object in the chaos realm. It was with the help of the Chaos Tree that Longao was not worried at all. Longao immediately added the flame of chaos into the camp. With the Chaos Tree beside him, he began to comprehend the Tao of life and death with all his might. Longao could be considered the first person to comprehend the Tao of life and death from the heavenly flames. With the help of the 13 types of heavenly flames and the Chaos Tree, Longao was also looking forward to seeing how much his strength would increase after comprehending the Tao of life and death. The 9 revolutions chaotic realm had a total of 4 great abilities in the 7th revolution. Now, Longao had successfully comprehended the peak of the 2nd ability, 9-9 return to 1, Tao annihilation. Longao had never expected that. This time, he had not succeeded in comprehending the Tao of life and death with the help of the heavenly flames, but he had successfully comprehended the 3rd ability, domain restriction. 9 heavens domain restriction. Under normal circumstances, who knew how long it would take to improve? But now, 1 level 1 heaven. In just 9 days, he had already successfully comprehended the 9 heavens domain restriction. What concept was this? On the 10th day, Longao had already comprehended the peak of the 3rd restriction, which was the 9-9's return to 1, the cage. He was only 1 step away from comprehending the 4th mystique. Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. To him, this was simply a huge surprise. He did not continue comprehending. If he wanted to continue comprehending the 4th divine ability, reincarnation, it was impossible with his current cultivation. At the very least, he would have to break through the chaotic life and death realm. Strictly speaking, the chaotic life and death realm was divided into 2 stages, the initial stage and the peak stage. He was still unable to comprehend the Tao of life and death. In the beginning, the heavenly demonic flame was still full of confidence. However, as time passed, even the heavenly demonic flame began to doubt it. He really didn't have much confidence. What was going on? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Even if he couldn't comprehend the Tao of life and death, Longao didn't choose to give up. Since he had already started comprehending it, he might as well continue comprehending it and see what he could comprehend in the end. The killing of 3 chaotic life and death realm experts of the Demon Palace, including the legendary number 1 array master Che Yuan, had completely shaken the 99 heavens of the chaotic realm. Everyone was deeply shaken. Ever since the chaotic realm had stabilized, such a thing had never happened. Chaotic life and death realm experts were not ordinary experts. They could be killed whenever they wanted to. Every chaotic life and death realm expert was a high and mighty existence in the chaotic realm. They were the strongest under the chaotic reincarnation realm. Under normal circumstances, the Demon Palace had lost 3 chaotic life and death realm experts all of a sudden. If it were other forces, even if they wanted to find trouble, it would be nonsense. To be able to kill 3 chaotic life and death realm experts, even if they weren't of the chaotic reincarnation realm, they were still the strongest among the chaotic life and death realm experts. Unless the chaotic reincarnation realm could suppress them, no one else could do it. However, the Demon Palace's situation was completely different. As one of the 3 super forces, everyone knew that the old ancestor of the Demon Palace, Missouri Wutian, was a chaotic reincarnation realm expert. As long as this old ancestor personally took action, killing the other party was a simple matter. But the result? Not only did the Demon Palace not take revenge, but they also retreated and continued to fight with the other 2 super forces. However, they were obviously not as bold as before. It could be said that the fall of 3 chaotic life and death realm experts was a great loss for the Demon Palace. Nangong-in and Master Godly Mathematician were still locking onto the channels of the Starry Sky Plane. However, the 9 Chaos channels had been completely destroyed. The 2 didn't even know if Longao had entered the Starry Sky Plane or remained in the chaotic realm. The more they thought about it, the more anxious they became. The 2 were most worried that if Longao had entered the Starry Sky Plane, as time passed, Once the other party recovered his chaotic reincarnation realm, they could imagine what the result would be. When Longao created the 9-revolution chaos mantra and wielded the chaos axe, he swept through the chaotic realm. Almost no one was his match. This was the real reason why everyone was afraid of Longao. It could be said that back then, Longao was known as the strongest person under the Tao-confirming realm. One could imagine how difficult it was for Longao's strength. "Yibu, can you lock onto it?" Nangonging couldn't wait to tear Master Godly Mathematician into pieces, but the current situation didn't allow him to do so. After all, in the entire chaotic realm, apart from the people of the Starry Sky Plane, only Yibu and Yidugu knew the location of the Starry Sky Plane. Moreover, with Master Godly Mathematician's strength, it wouldn't be easy to kill him. The most likely result of forcefully taking action was that both sides would suffer. Doing so would not be good for the divine mathematician, nor would it be good for himself. In fact, the sandpiper and the clam would fight, and the fisherman would reap the benefits. In the end, the other people would be the ones to benefit. Master Godly Mathematician's face was extremely gloomy and he said with an ugly expression, "Longao completely destroyed the 9 chaos channels to prevent us from locking onto them. It's too difficult to lock onto the position of the Starry Sky Plane." It wasn't just difficult, it was almost impossible. There were countless Starry Sky Planes in the chaotic realm. Perhaps even Nangongyin and Master Godly Mathematician didn't know how many Starry Sky Planes there were in the chaotic realm. Was it possible to lock onto the Starry Sky Plane where Longao's family was located? It was completely nonsensical and almost impossible. How could Nangongyin not understand the meaning of Master Godly Mathematician's words? It was precisely because he understood that his face became more and more gloomy and ugly. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. This time, he had really tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. Chapter 3206. Then what should we do now? Are we just going to sit here and wait for death? He was very afraid of Longao. In the entire chaos realm, the person they feared the most was undoubtedly Longao. Not to mention Nangongyin, Master Godly Mathematician also knew what it meant once Longao recovered his strength. Now, there's only one way to lock onto the Starry Sky Plane. Hearing Yidugu's words. Whether it was Master Godly Mathematician or Nangongyin, both of them were overjoyed and asked in unison, "What way?" As long as Father and Senior Nangong both succeed in confirming their Tao, then it shouldn't be difficult to lock onto each other's location. F***ck Nangongyin directly cursed. Nangongyin thought that Yidugu would have a good idea, but he never expected that the other party would only come up with such a method. Master Godly Mathematician wished he could slap this idiot to death. Are you out of your mind? If we can succeed in confirming our Tao, do we still need to lock onto the Starry Sky Plane? Once they succeeded in confirming their Tao, who would be their opponent? Before confirming their Tao, Longao could only be regarded as a joke. The problem now was that they couldn't confirm their Tao. Yidugu was shocked. He could clearly sense the killing intent from his father and Nangongyin. Father and son? Ever since his father awakened his primordial spirit, their father-son relationship had been broken. As long as he did something wrong, he believed that his father would kill him mercilessly. Yidugu had no doubts about this. It was precisely because of this that Yidugu began to have his own plans. Following his father like this was not a solution. Sooner or later, he would die without a burial place. Seeing Yidugu not speak, Master Godly Mathematician fiercely glared at him and coldly continued, "Don't talk nonsense in the future." "Yes, father." Nangongyin suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "Yibu, the current situation is very unfavorable for us. We can only rely on luck. I hope that Longao is still in the Chaos Realm. If Longao was not in the Chaos Realm but in the Starry Sky Plane, then they would have no hope." Master Godly Mathematician still didn't speak. "Father, can I say a few words?" Endless anger. However, before Yibu could say anything, Nangongyin said, "Go ahead." Since Nangong-yin had already spoken, the divine mathematician could only tacitly agree. Father, Senior Nangong, you may not know this, but back then, I interacted with Longao for a period of time. I don't know about the others, but I have full confidence in Longao. He will definitely stay in Chaos Realm. Yi Dugu had full confidence in this. He was overjoyed. The two of them were not fools. If Yi Dugu did not have full confidence, he would not be so sure. Inside the chaotic Dantian, Longao was still fully immersed in comprehending the path of life and death. However, a year had passed in the blink of an eye, yet he still hadn't succeeded in comprehending any path of life and death from the 13 types of essence flames. He sighed deeply. Longao slowly opened his eyes, his face filled with helplessness. Big brother, what's going on? Tianyu, your thinking is a little too simple. Not to mention that there are only 13 types of essence flames now. Even if I can gather all 23 types of essence flames, I can't use the essence flames to comprehend the path of life and death and reach the chaotic life and death realm. Longao was not too surprised about this. Then we're just going to give up like this? Longao shook his head and said with a smile, although I can't use the essence flames to comprehend the path of life and death, as Tianyu said before, I've already begun to feel a little. If I can completely comprehend it, then I'll have a real essence flame. Big brother, what do you mean? Tianyu demonic flame asked impatiently after hearing his big brother's words. His intuition told him that this matter was definitely not that simple, and there must be something he didn't know. Not only Tianyu demonic flame, but the others were also looking forward to it, wanting to know what was going on. Longao said with a smile, although I've obtained all of your essence flames, even if you recover to your peak, you'll only be in your previous state at most. However, the situation now is different. If I can comprehend your essence flames, then once you recover your original strength, I'll be able to unleash more than 10 times the power when I join hands with you. 10 times? What kind of concept was that? Hearing their big brother's words, everyone was shocked. They had seen powerful people before, but not to this extent. Just thinking about it made them excited. Longao did not continue to hesitate. In this situation, he had to put aside comprehending the path of life and death for now. The most important thing was to comprehend the 13 types of essence flames. Since he had the help of the chaotic tree, he was not afraid of being devoured by the essence flames. Among the 13 types of essence flames, Longao was least worried about the Tianyu demonic flame's backlash. As for the others, including the chaotic flame and Xiaohua, who knew if they would be devoured by the essence flames. Once they were devoured by the essence flames, they would not even have the chance to regret it. Just like that, Longao continued to comprehend the essence flames. A year's time passed by in the blink of an eye. Together with the previous year, it was a full 2 years. Longao had not taken a single step out of his chaotic Dantian, and was fully immersed in comprehending the essence flames. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Looking at the flame symbol that had appeared on his palm, Longao laughed out maniacally. Just as he had guessed, he had already grasped all 12 types of essence flames by now, including Xiaohua. In other words, all 12 types of essence flames were completely subdued by him. Of course, the Heaven Yu demonic flame must have helped him as well. Otherwise, Xiaohua sighed, there was no way Longao would have been able to grasp the other essence flames so smoothly. Out of the 13 types of essence flames, only the chaotic flame had yet to be fully grasped by Longao. This was also the only thing that Longao felt regretful about. Out of the 13 types of essence flames, the chaotic flame was the strongest. If he could fully grasp the chaotic flame, he believed that the power of his comprehension would rise to another level. Regarding this point, Longao had thought about it as well. Towards the chaotic flame, even he did not have a single idea about it. In this life, he had obtained the chaotic flame without knowing anything. However, he knew that the chaotic flame should have something to do with the Chaos Palace. Even though the Chaos Palace had already fused with his chaotic Dantian, Longao still believed that as long as the chaotic flame was still within his chaotic dantian, he would definitely be able to fully grasp it one day. But right now was definitely not the right time. The only thing he could do was to wait. He could not force himself to comprehend it. Otherwise, who knew what would happen? Who knew if he might even end up worse off? Chapter 3207. Boss, congratulations. Ha 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 ha. Longao could not hold back the surprise in his heart. He laughed crazily. This was only 12 types of heavenly flame. If he could comprehend the primal chaos flame, including the remaining 10 types of heavenly flame, he would know how terrifying the heavenly flame he possessed would be. However, it was easier said than done to get the remaining 10 types of strange fire. It would be easy to think about, but it was almost impossible to do it. Even so, Longao was already satisfied. It was impossible for others to even get one of the strange fire, let alone 13 types of strange fire at the same time. The heavenly demonic flame said at this time, "Boss, according to the legend, if 23 types of strange fire can be gathered, it can even destroy a warrior." He nodded. Longao had heard of this legend, but it was just a legend. In the entire chaotic world, who could gather all the strange fire? It was completely nonsense. As if he could guess what his boss was thinking, the heavenly demonic flame smiled and said, "Boss, since you can obtain 13 mysterious flames, then according to my guess, you'll definitely be able to obtain 10 mysterious flames if nothing unexpected happens." What did that mean? Longao was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning of the heavenly demonic flame's words? Was it possible? Not to mention others, even he didn't believe it. Being able to get 13 types of strange fire was a blessing in itself. Not to mention getting all the strange fire, which was the so-called 23 types of strange fire. You have a way? Heavenly demonic flame, if you have a way to help our boss get the other 10 types of strange fire, tell me quickly. Blackie and the others couldn't wait because they knew very well what it meant if their boss could gather all 23 types of strange fire. "Boss, I know the location of 3 types of strange fire, and I can help you get them. As for the other 7 types, it depends on your luck." Ah. Longao was a little dumbfounded. Of course, he knew what the 3 types of strange fire meant. But one had to know. There were only 23 types of strange fire in the entire chaotic world. Now he had 13 types of strange fire, and there were still 10 types of strange fire left. If he could get 3 types of strange fire. In other words, he would get 16 types of strange fire. The more deviant flames he obtained, the more it would help him. Tianyu, where are the other 3 deviant flames? No matter what price he had to pay, he had to obtain the 3 mysterious flames. If it had been in the past, Longao might not have obtained the heavenly flame so intensely. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao had already successfully comprehended the power of the exceptional flame from the 12 types of exceptional flames. He knew very well that every time he comprehended a type of exceptional flame, the power of the exceptional flame he possessed would increase by a little. "Boss, you must know that the locations of these 3 heavenly flames are filled with dangers." At this point, the heavenly demonic flame did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. How could Longao not know what the heavenly devil flame meant? Was he afraid of danger? If he was afraid of danger, Longao wouldn't have come this far. Without even thinking, Longao spoke with determination. "Tianyu, you should know my personality. Tell me, where are the 3 deviant flames?" In Longao's opinion, the 3 heavenly flames should be in 3 different places. If that was the case, if he wanted to obtain the 3 heavenly flames at the same time, he would have to search for them one by one. But the result? The heavenly demonic flame thought for a moment, then finally said, "Boss, all 3 deviant flames are in the same place, so we must plan carefully. We cannot afford to be careless." Longao nodded. He understood the dangers involved. After leaving the Chaos Dantian, Longao immediately followed the heavenly demonic flames instructions and ran as fast as he could. Ha 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 ha. Mo Wutian laughed maniacally, his laughter filled with endless joy. He had thought that it would take him 3 years to recover his primal chaos reincarnation. Who would have thought that he would be able to recover to his peak state in just 2 years? It wasn't just him either. Judah's cultivation had returned to peak chaos reincarnation. What did this mean? With one man and one beast working together, even if they faced off against a chaos warrior of the same level, they would not have to worry. In fact, they could easily suppress any chaos warrior. Boss, what should we do now? According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the person who killed Che Yuan and the other two must be Longao. With the current Longao? Judas didn't believe it. Longao was only in the realm of chaos. How could he have killed 3 Chaos Samsara warriors? It was utter nonsense. Wutian Mo knew exactly what Judas was thinking. I don't know how Longao did it, but I am absolutely certain it was Longao's doing. Judas wanted to say something, but in the end he swallowed his words. He still didn't believe it was Longao's doing. The more he thought about it, the more impossible it seemed. Wutian Mo didn't know why, but he was convinced it was Longao's doing. But the fact that Longao could kill Che Yuan and the others was proof enough that he was strong enough to kill Chaos Samsara warriors. In the past, Wutian Mo didn't know if he could deal with the Longao, but now things were different. Both he and Judas had returned to their chaos levels. So long as Longao was not at his peak, then Wutian Mo and Judas together could easily kill the Longao. Of this, Wutian Mo was confident. Boss, what should we do now? Kill Longao, destroy the Pill Hall and the Domain Rulers Alliance, and take over the Chaos Realm. Judas's face was solemn. Boss, they won't agree. Of course, Mo Wutian knew what he meant. The old ancestor of the Pill Hall and the Domain Lords Alliance were both primal chaos reincarnation realm experts. If they wanted to destroy the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall, they would have to kill the 2 of them. However, it would be difficult to kill 2 primal chaos reincarnation realm experts. Under normal circumstances, this wouldn't work. But now, if nothing unexpected happens, the other 2 haven't returned to their chaos levels. This is the best time to deal with them. I won't let this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slip by. Chapter 3208. As his cultivation base recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, Mo Wutian's ambition grew. Back then, he wanted to dominate the primal chaos realm. However, back then, with Han Wu and Sonya's obstruction, he didn't even get a third of the Devil Palace. He was unwilling to accept it. He couldn't verify his Tao for the time being. That was the case. Mo Wutian was prepared to use this opportunity to destroy the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall, and dominate the entire primal chaos realm. If it was a one-on-one battle, it wouldn't be easy for him to defeat Han Wu or Sonya. But now, the situation was completely different. His cultivation base had recovered to its peak state. On the other hand, Han Wu and Sonya still hadn't recovered to their peak state. Plus, he had Zhu Ying's help. Under such circumstances, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with the 2 of them. If he chose to give up, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. He did as he said. The Devil Palace that had lost 3 primal chaos life and death realm experts had started to reduce the number of battles. But what was the result? For some reason, the Devil Palace seemed to have gone crazy. They suddenly started to attack the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall crazily. Compared to before, their attacks were doubled. What was going on? No one knew why the Demon Palace would suddenly act so crazily. At this moment, the Devil Palace was like a mad dog. Under such crazy attacks, both the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall were slowly pushed back. If this continued, the result would be obvious. Longao couldn't care less about the battle between the 3 super forces. He focused all his attention on the 3 types of mysterious flames. If he could obtain the 3 types of mysterious flames, the power of the mysterious flames he comprehended would be able to reach a higher level. Tianyu, the 3 types of mysterious flames you mentioned, which are they? The heavenly quiet devil flame thought for a while and said, back then, I also accidentally met the black devil flame that was ranked 4th, the 9 heavens divine lightning fire that was ranked 8th, and the ice fire burning flame that was ranked 6th. He was delighted. Of course, Longao knew what the 3 heavenly flames that the heavenly ghost devil flame mentioned meant. Boss, after entering the forbidden area, you must be careful. When the crucial moment comes, I will come out to help you. All right. Longao rushed with his fastest speed according to Tianyu Devil Flame's guidance. Fire Spring Forbidden Area. If not for the heavenly ghost devil flame leading the way, he would not have found this place even if he was beaten to death. According to the Heavenly Devil Flame, the Fire Spring Forbidden Land was one of the Chaos Realm's forbidden lands. It was very well hidden. Very few people knew that there was such a forbidden area in the Chaos Realm. Fire Bug, the divine beast of the Fire Spring Forbidden Land, never left the Fire Spring Forbidden Land. However, if a human or divine beast were to enter the forbidden area of the fire spring, the countless fire bugs would devour them in a frenzy. Not even their bones would be left. He had never heard of a fire bug swarm before. However, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. A divine beast that could make even the heavenly ghost devil flame feel apprehensive, just thinking about it, one would know what it meant. Outside the fire spring forbidden area, Longao took a deep breath. Since he was here, there was no need to hesitate. Under the absolute temptation, danger was not important at all. After all, without danger, there would be no opportunity. He took a step forward. Longao's figure instantly disappeared from the entrance. As soon as he stepped into the fire spring forbidden land, before Longao could even react, countless little bugs had already appeared around him. It was the overlord of the fire spring forbidden land, the fire bug swarm. The fire bug was about the size of a fist, and its entire body was emitting flames. Although its power was not as strong as the heavenly fire, the endless fire bugs were constantly covering it. Just thinking about it, one could imagine how terrifying it was. Longao dodged to the side and countered with a counterattack. When he looked around, he saw that the surroundings were densely packed with fire bugs. He was startled. No wonder the heavenly demonic flame had repeatedly asked him to consider this carefully. After entering the fire spring forbidden land, not to mention whether he could obtain 3 heavenly flames, just facing such a horrifying group of fire bugs made his scalp go numb. Third Sacred Art, Peak Forbidden Domain, Cage. The terrifying power was like a cage, directly covering all the space around. He had a lot of confidence in the sacred art produced by his 9 Revolution Chaos mantra. Just as expected. Peak Forbidden Domain, Cage descended, and the surrounding fire bugs were constantly imprisoned. In this way, Longao was completely one-sided slaughtering. However, there were just too many fire bugs around. Even if he kept slaughtering, he might not be able to kill them all. Not to mention, a person's physical strength was always limited. It was impossible to kill endlessly. Once he relaxed a little, he could imagine the consequences. Longao did not dare to have any hesitation. While using the forbidden domain to imprison the fire bugs, he slaughtered the fire bugs to open a path. As long as he could find the 3 heavenly fires, he could leave the fire spring forbidden land in the shortest time possible. This time, he did not enter the fire spring forbidden land for the fire bugs or the forbidden land itself, but for the 3 heavenly fires. Heavenly Ghost, can you lock onto the 3 heavenly fires? Yes, but boss, the fire bugs are the natural nemesis of our heavenly fires. It is because of the fire bugs that the 3 heavenly fires do not dare to leave casually. So that was it. Longao already knew what was going on. In the end, the reason why the fire spring Forbidden Land could suppress the three heavenly fires was not because of the Forbidden Land itself, but because of the fire bugs. It was hard to imagine that the fire bugs were the natural nemesis of the heavenly fires. If the heavenly demonic flame hadn't said it himself, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. After all, there were 23 types of heavenly flames, and each of them was the most terrifying power in the world. Leave the fire bugs to me. You focus on locking onto the three heavenly fires. Okay. The heavenly ghost devil flame appeared on Longao's shoulder, as if he was very afraid of the endless fire bugs that came from all directions, and was afraid that they would swallow him alive. Heavenly fires were not afraid of anything except fire bugs. If it was not to help Boss obtain the three heavenly fires, he would not have casually stepped into the fire spring Forbidden Land. The fire spring Forbidden Land was also a forbidden land for heavenly fires. Among the 23 heavenly fires, except for the primal chaos flame, the other 22 heavenly fires did not dare to step into the Forbidden Land because the firebugs were the natural nemesis of the 22 heavenly fires. As for whether the primal chaos flame was afraid of the firebugs, it was still unknown. The firebugs in the surroundings were already crazily attacking. Seeing the heavenly ghost devil flame, they acted as if they had seen their prey and attacked even more crazily. However, no matter how powerful their attacks were, they could not break through Longao's domain forbidden divine ability, Pinnacle Cage. This was a complete joke. Longao's domain forbidden divine ability could already kill chaotic life and death realm warriors. How could it not block the crazy attacks of the firebugs? Chapter 3209. Boss, Southeast Direction. Hearing the heavenly demonic flame's words, Longao already knew that the heavenly demonic flame had successfully located the three types of mysterious flames. Without any hesitation, Longao blocked the crazy attacks of the surrounding fireflies and began to kill crazily. The fireflies were not afraid of death, like moths to a flame. No matter how many died, there would be more. In just a few dozen minutes, more and more fireflies gathered, as if there was no end to them. Boss, you have to get the three types of mysterious flames and leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, the number of fireflies will become more and more terrifying. Less than 1 in 10,000. From this, one could imagine how many fireflies there were in the fire spring forbidden area. The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. The best way was to find the three types of mysterious flames as soon as possible. Once he got the mysterious flames, he would leave immediately. At this moment, the Golden Lion Divine Beast's voice entered Longao's mind. Boss, although the fireflies are the nemesis of the mysterious flames, everything has a nemesis. If the mysterious flames can devour the fireflies, then there will be unexpected benefits. Hearing the Golden Lion Divine Beast's words, Longao was completely dumbfounded. How could he not think of that? He only thought that the fireflies were the nemesis of the mysterious flames, and once the mysterious flames appeared, they would be devoured by the mysterious flames. But he never thought that everything had a nemesis. Although the fireflies were the nemesis of the mysterious flames could also devour the fireflies. Now that he had obtained 13 types of mysterious flames, except for the primal chaos flame, the other 12 types of mysterious flames had not recovered to their peak. If they could devour the fireflies in the fire spring forbidden area, it would be an indescribable benefit for the mysterious flames. It was easy to think about, but it was impossible to actually do it. The fireflies were the nemesis of the mysterious flames. Once the heavenly fire appeared, it would be instantly devoured by the endless amount of fire bugs in the surroundings, not to mention devouring the fire bugs. It would then die without a burial ground. But since the Golden Lion Divine Beast said so, then if there was no accident, the Golden Lion Divine Beast should have a way. Golden Lion, do you have a way to let the mysterious flames devour the fireflies? Yes. As expected. Hearing that the golden lion divine beast really had a way to let the mysterious flames devour the fireflies, Longao was pleasantly surprised. "What is it?" Longao asked impatiently. Of course, he knew what it meant when the heavenly flame devoured the firefly swarm. "Eye of destruction. Eye of destruction." Longao wasn't a fool. He instantly knew what the golden by divine beast meant. But would it work? If the golden lion divine beast was at its peak, using the Eye of Destruction wouldn't be a problem at all. But now, the situation was completely different. "Did it hurt you, Miss Jean?" "Yes, but I don't mind if it can help the heavenly flame devour the firebugs." Jean too could be indifferent, but he couldn't be indifferent. The more the golden lion acted this way, the more Longao could not agree. He could not allow the golden lion divine beast to fall into eternal damnation just for the sake of the strange flame. "Boss, although forcefully using the Eye of Destruction has caused me great damage, you should know better than me what it means if the 12 types of heavenly flames devour the firefly swarm." Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew what the golden lion divine beast meant. He also knew what it meant if the 12 types of heavenly flames devoured the firefly swarm. It was still the same sentence. He couldn't sacrifice the golden lion divine beast just to let the heavenly flame devour the firefly swarm. It was completely nonsensical. As if it could guess what his boss was thinking, the golden lion divine beast continued, "Boss, don't waste any more time. I might fall into a deep sleep after using the Eye of Destruction, but it doesn't matter." He sighed deeply in his heart. He couldn't persuade the golden lion divine beast. But according to the golden lion divine beast, with his current strength, even if he forcefully used the Eye of Destruction, he couldn't cover the entire fire spring forbidden land. By then, not to mention helping the heavenly flame devour the firefly swarm, he might even be devoured by the firefly swarm. Trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. In order to be foolproof, he had to rely on the help of Blackie and the other chaos beasts. In the next second, the golden lion divine beast had already activated the Eye of Destruction. With the help of Blackie and the other chaos divine beasts, Longao was still worried. He forcefully activated his chaotic dantian and started to release the chaos tree. Whether he could do it or not was still unknown. However, the next scene made Longao feel incomparably surprised. The chaotic dantian started to spin crazily. A huge vortex started to spin crazily. The chaos tree came to the center of the vortex. Under the combination of the two, endless chaotic energy started to surge out crazily. With the help of the chaotic dantian, the golden lion divine beast's face suddenly lit up. He smiled and said, "Boss, the heavens are on our side. This time, not only can the heavenly flame devour the firefly swarm, it can even help us recover to our peak condition." There was no need for the golden lion beast to say anything. Xiao He and the others already knew what had happened. Even Longao did not expect it. He was just trying it out, but he never expected that the primal chaos dantian and the primal chaos tree would combine and produce an endless amount of primal chaos force. At this moment, Longao had already locked onto the 3 heavenly flames. With the help of the heavenly demonic flame, it only took a few minutes to successfully subdue the 3 heavenly flames. Among the 16 heavenly flames, other than the chaotic flame, the remaining 15 heavenly flames started to devour the firefly swarm crazily. Each of the heavenly flames was extremely surprised. Before this, the firefly swarm was the nemesis of the heavenly flames. No matter which heavenly flame it was, as long as it encountered the firefly swarm, it could only dodge. How could it devour the firefly swarm? But now, with the help of their boss, the impossible had become possible, or even a reality. The 15 types of heavenly flames were devouring the fiery worms in a frenzy. With the help of the chaotic dantian and the golden centipede's Eye of Destruction covering the entire fiery spring field, the 15 types of heavenly flames could devour the fiery worms at will without worrying about being devoured by them. "All of you, go out and devour the firefly swarm. I'm about to break through." the heavenly demonic flame and the other 15 heavenly flames naturally knew what their boss meant. Without the slightest hesitation, they all scattered and started to devour the firefly swarm. The golden lion divine beast also devoured the endless chaotic energy and started to crazily break through, hoping to recover to its peak condition. As for Longao, he sat on the ground and also prepared to use the chaotic energy to comprehend the Tao of life and death and break through the chaotic life and death realm. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If they chose to give it up so easily, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Everyone was pleasantly surprised. Chapter 32:10. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. If he were to cultivate under normal circumstances, if he wanted to break through from the chaos domain to the chaos life and death realm, he would probably need hundreds or even thousands of years. But right now, the situation was completely different. In the short span of 3 years, Longao had successfully comprehended the Tao of life and death, breaking through from the chaos domain to the chaos life and death realm. In other words, right now, Longao was a true chaos life and death realm martial artist. What sort of a concept was that? It wasn't just Longao. All the other chaos god beasts, including the golden Ho god beast, had already recovered to the chaos life and death state. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Blackie and the others burst out laughing maniacally. Longao laughed as well. Boss, your chaos dantian is truly heaven-defying. To think that it could help us recover to the chaos life and death state. How about we work harder and break through the chaos reincarnation state? Longao shook his head. The chaos reincarnation state requires the fusion of life and death to comprehend reincarnation. Right now, it's not the time for us to break through. Blackie and the others were curious, not knowing what their boss meant by that. It wasn't easy for them to grab hold of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If they were to give it up so easily, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. It was exasperating. I know what you guys mean. But, I can tell you clearly that at this moment, no matter who it is, do not continue to devour and break through. Do you hear me? Even though Tao Tai and the other chaos god beasts were filled with curiosity and indignance, since their boss had already said so, none of them dared to go against him as they nodded their heads one by one. How could Longao not know what everyone was thinking in their hearts? Indeed, this wasn't the time to break through. If he were to forcefully devour and break through, be it for himself, Blackie, or the others, there would be no benefits at all. In fact, if he wasn't careful, he might even be consigned to eternal damnation. Within the Chaos Dantian, the Chaos Tree was still spinning wildly in the center of the vortex. An endless amount of chaos power gushed out and covered the entire fire spring forbidden ground. The 15 types of heavenly flames began devouring the firebugs. But, there were way too many firebugs. Even if the 15 types of heavenly flames devouring, there was no way they could finish devouring. Longao's face was very solemn. What should he do? Was he going to miss this opportunity just like that? Longao knew very well that it would be a pity to sacrifice the rest of the fireflies if the 15 heavenly flames were unable to continue devouring the fireflies. He absolutely could not miss this opportunity. He gritted his teeth. Boss, you want to refine firebug puppets? Looking at their boss in front of them, everyone was completely stunned. As Longao's cultivation base broke through the chaotic life and death realm, his soul slaves and corpse slaves could be considered to have fused together, creating a puppet. Chaos puppets were far more powerful than soul slaves or corpse slaves. Based on my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the remote sky flame and the other heavenly flames have already devoured most of the heavenly flames. Continuing to devour won't be of much help to them. Blackie and the others didn't say anything. They just listened quietly. If I am able to successfully refine it, you all should know what it means. Little Hay and the others were not fools. Of course, they knew what would happen if their boss succeeded. Blackie's face was very solemn. He said helplessly, "Boss, although your cultivation base has successfully broken through the chaotic life and death realm, such a huge refinement is still a very difficult task for you. If there is even the slightest mistake," Blackie did not continue speaking. However, the meaning in his words was very clear. Regarding the meaning of Blackie's words, how could Longao not know? Before Longao could say anything, the 15 mysterious flames had all returned. Their faces were all filled with pleasant surprise. The heavenly demonic flame said in pleasant surprise, "Boss, many thanks this time. The devouring flame bug this time is very important to us." They were so excited that they couldn't speak. Before this, even if they were beaten to death, the remote sky demonic flame and the others would never have thought that they would be able to devour the fireflies. Longao waved his hand and said with a smile, "Immediately refine and fuse the fireflies." Okay. Devouring was one thing, refining and fusing was another. Although the remote sky demonic flame and the other heavenly flames had devoured countless fireflies, refining and fusing the fireflies wasn't an easy task. According to Longao's calculations, the remote sky demonic flame and the other heavenly flames would need a very long time to refine and fuse the fireflies this time. However, Longao was also pleasantly surprised. Once the remote sky demonic flame and the other heavenly flames were refined and fused with the fireflies, the remote sky demonic flame and the other heavenly flames would recover their peak strength. It would be a great help to him. Based on the fact that his primal chaos Dantian covered the entire fire spring forbidden land, Longao had a rough idea. Not counting the fire bugs that the heavenly demonic flame and the other heavenly flames consumed, there were still more than 100 million fire bugs left. What kind of concept was that? Over 100 million fireflies. No matter which heaven it was placed in, if there were no accidents, it would be enough to destroy any heaven. Even the first heaven wouldn't be easy to resist the attack of over 100 million fireflies. If he had enough time, he could completely refine them slowly. It would probably take him 3 to 5 years to complete the refinement. However, the current situation was completely different. He didn't know when his chaotic Dantian would return to normal. Once his chaotic Dantian no longer surged with primal chaos force, not to mention refining fireflies, it would be unknown whether he could leave the forbidden land smoothly. Therefore, not to mention refining over 100 million fireflies, at this time, he would refine as many as he could. As long as he could refine 1/10 of the fireflies, it would be a huge profit. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately used his chaotic Dantian to refine fireflies crazily. Moreover, it was an overload refinement. Under such circumstances, he would refine as many fireflies as he could. The more fireflies he refined, the more help it would be to him. Longao's aura began to crazily cover the entire area. However, it was impossible for him to cover the entire forbidden area of the fire spring. It wasn't a realistic problem either. According to Longao's current strength, he should be able to cover about 1/10 of the area. In this way, as long as Longao succeeded in refining, he would be able to refine 1/10 of the fire bug puppets. That would be equivalent to tens of millions of fire bug puppets. What kind of concept was that? However, doing so would cause Longao a huge backlash. After all, if he wanted to refine all the fireflies, he would need to refine them 10 times. Such an overload was too dangerous. The slightest carelessness would lead to unimaginable consequences. Longao wasn't a fool. He knew better than anyone what the consequences would be. Chapter 32:11. Crazily refining. Longao endured the waves of weakness coming from his body. He only hoped that his chaotic Dantian could last a little longer. Even now, Longao couldn't do anything about his chaotic Dantian. It could be said that the primal chaos energy in his primal chaos Dantian could come and go whenever he wanted. He had no control over it at all. However, Longao's luck wasn't bad this time. An entire year. He succeeded 5 times in a row. The chaotic energy in his chaotic dantian was still surging. Even if he couldn't hold on any longer, Longao still continued to refine. If he chose to give up and leave now, Longao could leave without being attacked by the fireflies. He continued to refine. As Mo Wutian's cultivation returned to chaos reincarnation, he began to attack the Domain Lord Alliance and Pill Hall. Not only that, Mo Wutian personally attacked a chaos reincarnation warrior. It was obvious what it meant. Han Wu and Sangya were only at chaos reincarnation. They weren't Mo Wutian's match. Neither of them could have guessed that Wutian Mo and Judas would have returned to the primordial chaos. Two primordial chaos samsara warriors, even at their peak, would not have been able to defeat Wutian Mo, much less now. Mo Wutian subdued Judas, which was a huge advantage. There was no doubt about it. Han Wu and Sangya took their core members and retreated. Demon Palace chased after them and began to destroy the Domain Lord Alliance and Demon Palace. In just half a month. Whether it was the Domain Lord Alliance or Pill Hall, they were completely destroyed. The entire Chaos Realm was unified. The Overlord was neither the Domain Lord Alliance nor Pill Hall. It was the weakest Demon Palace. Mo Wutian was pleasantly surprised. He finally dominated the Chaos Realm. The most depressed of them all was Guo. Originally, he thought that he would be the one benefiting from the chaotic battle between the three super forces and the Snipe and the Clam. But the result? Mo Wutian and Zhu had already recovered to their peak strength. With his current strength, let alone 1 against 2, he wouldn't even be a match for them in a one-on-one fight. He was helpless. In this situation, there was only one way. He had to endure. He had to endure it. He could only bear with it and wait for his cultivation to recover to its peak state. By then, he might be able to turn the tables around. However, if he wanted to continue dominating the chaos world, it wouldn't be as simple as it used to be. The first heavenly region. Mo Wutian had destroyed the Domain Lord Alliance's city and transformed the Pill City into the Demon City, which could be considered the Demon Palace's main base. Inside the huge palace, Mo Wutian's face was as dark as it could get. Old Ancestor, I've already given the order to search for Longao's traces everywhere. It's just that it's a little difficult to find a single person in the Chaos Realm's 99 heaven domains. How could Mo Wutian not understand Mo Wufeng's intentions? The Chaos Realm was too big. It was indeed not an easy task to find traces of a person. If it was anyone else, even if it was Han Wu or Sangya, it wouldn't matter if he couldn't lock onto them. Because in Mo Wutian's opinion, regardless of whether it was Han Wu or Sangya, even if they recovered their peak strength, they wouldn't be a match for him. After all, he had the help of the Candle Shadow Beast by his side. Only Longao's situation was completely different. Longao's talent and strength were far above his. Back then, Longao had even created the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. He was only one step away from attaining his Tao. Not only that, Longao still had the heaven-devouring beast by his side. Once he recovered his peak strength, he could definitely go against Mo Wutian. In fact, Longao might even be able to suppress Mo Wutian. It was because of this that Mo Wutian was wary of Longao. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something wasn't right. No matter what happened, no matter what price he had to pay, he had to kill Longao. Wufeng, regarding Longao's matter, others might not know about it, but it's impossible that you don't. Therefore, we have to kill Longao. Do you understand what I mean? Mo Wufeng nodded his head. How could Mo Wufeng not understand the intentions of the old master? However, knowing was one thing, and whether or not he could do it was another. This was especially the case for locking onto Longao's location. Mo Wufeng did not know what he should say. Indeed, he could not do it. Even if he were to promise right now, it would be bullshit. He could save himself the trouble of delaying the old master's plans. A single look at Mo Wufeng's face was enough for Mo Wutian to understand. He was equally helpless in his heart. To think that he could not even deal with a single person despite being the overlord of the entire chaos world. This was a humiliation, an immense humiliation. Search for him. Use the entire chaos world's strength to search for him. Mo Wufeng nodded his head. Since things had already come to this, he did not dare to say anything more. He turned around and left immediately. Boss, Longao is still a hidden danger. If we don't get rid of him as soon as possible, we'll definitely be nurturing a tiger in the future. Of course I know that. But I'm sure Longao already knows. I'm at the peak of my power, and as long as he's not an idiot, I'm afraid he's already gone into hiding. Trying to lock onto Longao's location is going to be difficult. Boss, no matter how difficult it is, we have to find traces of this person. Not only that, Han Wu and Sanya are also troublesome. The other Chaos Reincarnation Realm experts are wholeheartedly trying to prove their Tao and have no intention of meddling in the Chaos World's overlord position. Only these two people, if nothing unexpected happens and these two people recover their Chaos Reincarnation Realm, they will definitely compete with us for the Chaos World's overlord position. Mo Wufeng nodded his head. Although he didn't think much of these two, it was just as Judas said. Han Wu and Sanya were a problem, and it was best to cut the weeds and remove the roots. You're right. Let's go find those two people now and kill them to prevent any future trouble. Judas nodded, and the man and beast left to track down Han Wu and Sanya. 2 years later. Longao had already refined 8 firebugs, which was a total of more than 80 million firebugs. Even if he left now, Longao would still have profited. However, his chaotic Dantian was still maintained. There was no need to choose to give up at this time. If he gave up so easily, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Keep going, keep going. He was still short of more than 20 million firebugs. As long as he could successfully refine the remaining firebugs, he would have 100 million firebug puppet army. When that time came, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the Chaos Realm. Even the Chaos Samsara warriors would not dare to go against such a terrifying puppet army. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. And so, Longao gritted his teeth and continued to work on the remaining firebugs. Chapter 32:12. 3 years later, Longao had finally finished crafting all the firebug puppets. He was so tired that he sat down on the ground, panting heavily. His chaotic Dantian had stopped spinning as well. Hundreds of millions of firebug puppets, what sort of concept was that? Boss, can hundreds of millions of firebug puppets defend against a chaos reincarnation martial artist? That was the crux of the matter. Right now, Blackie and the others, including Longao, were all chaos samsara martial artists. They could easily annihilate any chaotic samsara martialist. Once they joined forces, killing a chaotic samsara martialist would be a matter of minutes. That was the reason why. The crux of the matter was whether they could fight against a chaos samsara martial artist. How could Longao not know what Blackie and the others were thinking? If we give up all the firebug puppets, I believe that it should be possible to deal with a chaos samsara martial artist. Whether they could really fight against a chaos samsara martial artist, even Longao did not have full confidence. Boss, what should we do now? Leave the Fire Spring Forbidden Grounds. Since they had already successfully crafted the firebug puppets, there was no point in staying in the Fire Spring Forbidden Grounds. Longao left at the fastest speed possible. First Heavenly Domain, Longao, who had just returned, had already heard about how Devil Palace had destroyed 2 super forces and taken over the entire Chaos world. He was shocked. Longao had not expected that Devil Palace would destroy the Domain Lord Alliance and Pill Hall. But he had guessed it in an instant. If there were no surprises, the reason why Devil Palace could win was because Mo Wutian and Zhuiying had already recovered to their peak state, while Han Wu and Sanya had not. The key to victory was not the strength or foundation of the sect, but the chaos samsara martial artist. If Mo Wutian and Zhuiying had not recovered to their chaos samsara state, and if Han Wu and Sanya had recovered, then the outcome would be different. It would not be Devil Palace destroying the Domain Lord Alliance and Pill Hall. It would be the Domain Lord Alliance and Pill Hall destroying Devil Palace. But the truth was the truth. It could not be changed. Longao was worried about the safety of Canlin and Han Yin. He did not know how they were doing. The more he thought about it, the more worried he got. The more he thought about it, the more anxious he got. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Just as Longao was about to release his aura to cover the entire first sky to find out where the person he was looking for was, the situation suddenly changed. A man and a beast appeared, laughing maniacally. Longao, you really don't know what's good for you. You actually dared to come here. Ha 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 ha. Neither Judas nor Wutian could figure out why Longao had suddenly returned. Was Longao not afraid of death? Or did Longao have something to rely on? In the past, whether or not he and Judas would have been able to kill their foe was uncertain. But now, the situation was completely different. Now that he and Judas were fully restored to their primordial state, dealing with Longao would be a simple task. Mo Wutian, I will settle the grudge between us in the future. But for now, I just want to know where Han Yin and Canlin are. His intuition told him that Canlin and Han Yin should be fine. After all, Han Wu and Sanya were still alive. But when he thought about it, it made sense. Even though Han Wutian and Sanya had lost the position of overlord, their statuses were still there. Now that both of them had recovered to the peak of the chaotic samsara realm, they were only a step away from returning to the chaotic samsara realm. Even if Mo Wutian wanted to kill them, it wouldn't be an easy task. Longao, you sent yourself to my doorstep. You can't blame anyone else. There was no reply. Wutian and Judas were already gone. In the next second, Longao was gone. Under the watchful eyes of man and beast, he disappeared without a trace. With a gloomy expression, Mo Wutian said helplessly, the primal chaos palace in Longao's hands is too powerful. Back then, he fused the primal chaos palace into his dantian. No one could lock onto his position, unless they were Dao Vindication cultivators. The more he thought about it, the gloomier his face became. Right now, Longao has only recovered to the primal chaos life and death realm. I believe the primal chaos palace has yet to recover to its peak. This is the best time to kill Longao. If we miss this opportunity, once Longao becomes a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist, we will have to continue dealing with him. At this point, Mo Wutian didn't continue, but the meaning behind his words was clear. Judas's face was just as gloomy. He didn't know what to do. Longao's Hall of Chaos was too heaven-defying. When they first met, they couldn't pinpoint Longao's location, much less now. He was only one step away from returning to his primordial state. It would be a lie to say he didn't fear it. Once Longao was at his peak, he could continue to cultivate the 8th cycle of the 9 revolutions chaos world. It was easy to imagine what that meant. But one had to know. Longao had reached the peak of the 7th cycle of the 9 revolutions chaos world. He was only one step away from proving his Tao. But Longao had failed to break through to the 8th cycle. Just because he didn't succeed before didn't mean he wouldn't succeed now. If Longao did succeed, the two of them would be his first targets. Just the thought of it was frightening. Boss, what should we do now? Think of a way to deal with the primal chaos palace in Longao's hands. Otherwise, wanting to deal with Longao is simply nonsense. The man and the beast did not continue to stay because they knew very well that there was no point in continuing to stay here under such circumstances. It was better to go back and think of a way to deal with Longao. After the man and beast left, Longao's figure appeared. At this time, there was no need to fight Mo Wutian head-on. The most important thing was to find Canlin and Han Yin as quickly as possible. Lightning Domain. Gu Hao had all of his forces in the Thunder Heavenly Domain, because he had already received news that Mo Wutian was preparing to attack the Thunder Heavenly Domain. Thinking about it, it was a very normal thing. After all, the Demon Palace had already occupied the entire Primal Chaos realm, and only the Thunder Heavenly Domain had not been taken down yet. Gu Hao was not afraid of the Demon Palace, but what he was truly afraid of was Mo Wutian and Zhuyin. One man and one beast were both genuine Primal Chaos Samsara, and once they attacked, not to mention whether or not he could protect the Thunder Heavenly Domain, whether or not he could survive was an unknown. It would be a lie to say he wasn't afraid. He had to think of a way to deal with Wutian Mo and the Demon Palace. Chapter 30-13. Gu Hao had never thought that things would develop to such a stage. On the second day, Mo Wutian did not come personally. Instead, it was Mo Wufeng who led the army of the Demon Palace. At this time, the Thunder Heavenly Domain had no ability to fight against the Demon Palace. Fighting force with force was a dead end. After so many years of preparation, it was all for naught. Was he going to give up just like that? He was unwilling. In the end, after thinking about it, Mo Wutian still chose to give up and leave the Thunder Heavenly Domain alone. Without a doubt, the Demon Palace had launched a large-scale attack. In just a few days, they had already settled the Thunder Heavenly Domain. Anyone who did not submit would be killed. In front of slaughter, no one was not afraid. Since then, the Demon Palace could be considered to have truly unified the Chaos Realm. The 99 Heavenly Domains. The Divine Mathematician and Nangong-yin, who had just returned, also received the news that the Demon Palace had already dominated the Chaos Realm. Yi Dugu was very curious. He did not know why his father did not fight for the Chaos Realm. Not only his father, even Nangong-yin was not willing to fight for the Chaos Realm. Whether it was the Divine Mathematician or Nangong-yin, the two of them did not care at all about who dominated the Chaos Realm. They only cared about two things. The first was to think of a way to deal with Longao. If they could successfully kill Longao, they would be able to obtain the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos technique. The second thing was to prove the Tao of Primal Chaos. This was the most important thing. Whether it was in the past or in this life, proving the Tao was the most difficult thing to do. You too, why are you here this time? Mo Wutian looked at the 3 people who had suddenly descended. Although the Divine Mathematician and Nangong-yin had not recovered to the Primal Chaos Realm, their identities were still there. However, Mo Wutian also knew in his heart that neither the Godly Mathematician nor Nangong-yin had any intention of dominating the Primal Chaos world. They did not in the past, and they probably did not now. The Divine Mathematician smiled and said, Mo Wutian, don't worry. We will not interfere in this matter. Nangong-yin continued, Mo Wutian, we are here to ask you if there is any news about Longao. Longao? Mo Wutian then remembered that Longao and Nangong-yin also had a grudge. So that was the case. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Furthermore, the two of them had no intention of fighting for hegemony in the Chaos world. Mo Wutian pondered for a moment before recounting everything that had happened. After hearing this, Yi Dugu breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that he had guessed wrong. If he had guessed wrong, he would not be able to bear the consequences. The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. Master God Diviner and Nangong-yin both smiled, feeling pleasantly surprised. It would be best if Longao was in the Primal Chaos realm. What they feared the most was that Longao had already returned to the Starry Sky Plane. If that was the case, they would have no chance at all. Mo Wutian said helplessly, Gentlemen, I met Longao not long ago. At that time, he had already recovered to the chaotic Samsara realm. You should know what Longao means to those of the same realm. Mo Wutian's meaning was clear. The two of them were not fools, so how could they not understand? Chaotic Samsara realm? The moment they heard Mo Wutian's words, both of them were taken aback. Naturally, they knew what it meant for Longao to recover to the chaotic samsara realm. After all, even the both of them were only at the chaotic samsara realm. Back then, Longao was the strongest existence amongst those of the same realm. What sort of a concept was that? In other words, right now, Longao had already recovered to the chaotic samsara realm. If they were to face Longao now, whether or not they could defeat Longao was still an unknown. Mo Wutian, now that you've recovered to the chaotic samsara realm, we have a request. Yi Dugu waved his hand. Before Nangong could even finish his words, Mo Wutian chuckled out, as long as I can kill Longao, I'll split the 9 revolutions chaos mantra with all of you. However, if I, Mo Wutian, need any help in the future, would you guys be willing to help me? No problem. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Both Master Godly Mathematician and Nangong burst out laughing. If it were just the two of them alone, there was no way they could deal with Longao. But with Mo Wutian and Zhuing's help, things were a different story altogether. Longao searched high and low for traces of the two girls. Even though he was sure that they were fine for now, the longer he dragged this out, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. He had to find them as soon as possible. Boss, the chaos world is so big. We don't even know where Han Wu and Sanya have gone to. If we continue to search aimlessly like this, not only will we not be able to find them, we might even mess up our vision. Do you guys have any way to lock onto them? How could Longao not know what Tao Tai was trying to say? His concern had messed up his mind. Right now, he had no idea at all. If anything were to happen to Sister Han and Sister Lin, he wouldn't hesitate to pay with his life. Little Black and the others looked at one another. They could see the helplessness in each other's eyes. The more they thought about it, the more helpless they felt. Golden Lion spoke up, "Boss, your concern has messed up your mind. Since we already know that both of them are fine, there's no point in us wasting our time searching. Why don't we think of a way to deal with the Demon Palace? As long as we can suppress Mo Wutian, Han Wu and Sanya can return safely." Longao's face was very solemn. Thinking about it, Longao also felt that what the Golden Lion Divine Beast said was very reasonable. If he could suppress the Demon Palace and make Han Wu and Sanya come back, then he wouldn't have to waste his effort to find them. Suppressing Mo Wutian wasn't an easy task. After all, Mo Wutian and Zhuing were no longer what they used to be. One man and one beast had returned to the chaos reincarnation state. Even if he joined forces with Little Black and the others, they might not be able to suppress Mo Wutian and Zhuing. This was without a doubt. Mo Wutian's strength is no longer what it used to be. It will be difficult for us to suppress him. Boss, if we rely on our own strength, of course we won't be able to suppress Mo Wutian. But we do have an army of firebug puppets. If we can suppress the Demon Palace, I believe the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall will be able to develop quickly. Nodding his head, Longao had roughly understood the meaning of Tao Tai and the others. It was just that according to his original idea, he was unwilling to casually use the Firefly puppet army unless it was a last resort. After all, the hundreds of millions of Firefly puppet army was his biggest trump card. But to deal with Mo Wutian, he had no choice but to use his firebug puppets. Only then would he have any hope of suppressing the Demon Palace. Chapter 32:14. Firebug Puppet Army. Longao had only used 1/10 of the tens of millions of firebug puppets to test the strength of the Demon Palace. Now that the Demon Palace had dominated the Chaos world, it was almost impossible to completely destroy the Demon Palace. Longao would not do that. It was not easy to create a firebug puppet army, and he would not choose to destroy it so easily. If his cultivation base could recover to the Chaos Reincarnation realm, then the destruction of the Firebug Puppet Army would not be that important. But now, the situation was different. He had only recovered to the Chaos Life and Death realm, and was no match for a Chaos Reincarnation realm martial artist. 1/10 of the firebug puppets was equivalent to tens of millions of firebug puppets. What kind of concept was that? The moment the firebug puppet army appeared, the demon palace was immediately on alert. At the beginning, the demon palace did not take the firebug puppet army seriously, but as time passed, the threat of the firebug puppet army increased, and the demon palace began to attract attention. This could not go on. In a few short hours, the news of the firebug puppet army attacking the demon palace had already reached the demon palace. When Mo Wutian and Mo Wufeng received the news, Mo Wutian's face changed. Old ancestor, what kind of mythical beast is the firebug? Mo Wufeng did not know what kind of mythical beast the firebug was, and he did not know why the firebug army would attack the demon palace for no reason. It was simply inconceivable. What was going on? He could not figure it out. He really could not figure it out. Mo Wutian's face was as dark as it could get. After thinking about it, Mo Wutian said in a serious tone, "Wufeng, according to legends, firebugs are the nemesis of deviant flames. If there is anything in the chaos world that can counter deviant flames, it must be the firebug." Hearing the old ancestor's words, Mo Wufeng's face changed. Of course, he knew what the old ancestor meant. Old ancestor, why would the firebug army attack our demon palace for no reason? It was really strange. If there was nothing fishy about it, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. Not to mention Mo Wufeng. Even Mo Wutian could not figure out what was going on. No matter how he thought about it, he could not figure it out. Someone must have done this on purpose. If it wasn't Han Wu, then it was Tsanya, or perhaps it was Longao. Longao? It was complete nonsense for Longao to be able to control such a terrifying firefly army. Mo Wufeng didn't believe it at all. The greatest possibility was still Tsanya and Han Wu. No matter what. Han Wu and Tsanya were ultimately Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists. Even though they had yet to recover to their peak state, Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists were ultimately still Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists. If the two of them were able to control the firebug army, it wasn't impossible. Ancestor, what should we do now? Pass down the order. Everyone is to get out of the way. We are not to clash head-on with the Firefly army. How could Mo Wufeng not understand the old ancestor's intentions? Firebugs were able to destroy strange flames. Just thinking about it made one realize what kind of concept it was. A single firefly might not be much, but tens of millions of fireflies were terrifying. If the Devil Palace were to go all out, they could definitely kill off all the fireflies. However, Mo Wutian would not do so. That was because the price to pay to destroy the Firefly army was way too high. Right now, the Devil Palace had just taken over the Primal Chaos world, and had yet to stabilize itself. If they were to pay the price now, it would definitely not be a good thing for the Devil Palace. The sudden appearance of the Firefly army and the fact that they were attacking the Devil Palace shook the entire Primal Chaos world. No one knew what was going on. However, many of them could guess that the Firefly army wouldn't appear out of nowhere and attack the Devil Palace. If one were to say that there wasn't something fishy going on, that would be unrealistic. Just what was going on? They were curious, but many of them could not figure out what was going on. Everyone started guessing who it was that was controlling the Firefly army to attack the Devil Palace. Without anyone controlling it, how could they attack the Devil Palace and not anyone else? Longao controlled the Firefly army and started attacking the Devil Palace. However, he did not go all out. He was just testing the waters to see what the Devil Palace's attitude was. After a few tests, Longao gradually realized that the Devil Palace did not dare to fight head-on. In the end, if there were no accidents, the Devil Palace should not want to suffer any losses. After all, the Devil Palace had just taken over the Primal Chaos world. If the Devil Palace suffered too many losses, it would definitely give the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall an opportunity. At that time, it would be unknown if the Devil Palace could still maintain its position as the primal chaos world's overlord. As long as the Devil Palace was not stupid, they would definitely not do such a risky thing. Although the Devil Palace had destroyed the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall, they did not completely destroy the two superpowers. If it wasn't for Mo Wutian and Judas, how could the Devil Palace possibly destroy the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall? That was indeed the case. Longao guessed that Mo Wutian must be afraid of the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall's retaliation. Therefore, he did not dare to act rashly. The more this was the case, the more Longao increased his probing. From the initial 10 million firefly insects, it directly increased to 20 million firefly insects. Moreover, the attack power and range of the firefly insects had greatly increased. Devil Palace, Main Hall. Old Ancestor, the number of firefly insects has doubled for no reason. What should we do now? Mo Wufeng's face was very gloomy and as ugly as it could be. He knew very well what it meant to double the number of firefly insects. If the Devil Palace continued to evade them, it was not an ideal situation for the Devil Palace. Mo Wutian was not surprised at all. It was as if he had already expected this result. He sneered and said, "No matter who is controlling the firefly insect army, they must have a plan. If we act rashly now, we will fall into the enemy's trap. It will be very disadvantageous for us." How could Mo Wufeng not understand the meaning of the old ancestor's words? Knowing was one thing, and how to deal with it was another. As the palace lord of the Devil Palace, Missouri Wufeng had deep feelings for the Devil Palace. Especially at this time, when the Devil Palace was the overlord of the Chaos Realm, Mo Wufeng naturally hoped that the Devil Palace could maintain its position. Therefore, Mo Wufeng was very nervous when facing the Firefly Insect Army, especially the mysterious person behind the Firefly Insect Army. He had to find this person as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be a huge problem for the Devil Palace. How could Mo Wutian not know what Mo Wufeng was thinking? After thinking for a while, he said, "Wufeng, pass down my order. No matter what happens, do not face the Firefly Insect Army head-on." Chapter 32:15. The probing was still unsuccessful. Longao smiled. Mo Wutian was really patient. Under normal circumstances, Mo Wutian and the Devil Palace should have done something about it. But the result? They continued to increase their probing efforts. From 10 million fireflies to 20 million fireflies, then from 20 million fireflies to 50 million fireflies. What did 50 million fireflies mean? The Devil Palace had taken a step back time and time again. If this continued, it was obvious what the consequences would be. If this continued, it would not be a solution. Mo Wufeng was helpless. Even if he did not want to continue, he did not dare to give orders on his own accord with the old ancestors' orders. 50 million fireflies. Just thinking about it was enough to send shivers down his spine. More and more Devil Palace disciples were dying, and the number of them admitting defeat was increasing. In just a few days, the Devil Palace had already lost hundreds of thousands of people. If this continued, no one knew how much more they would lose. Old Ancestor, are we really going to continue like this? Start the counterattack. Similarly, Mo Wutian had not expected his opponent's Firefly army to be so terrifying. There were over 50 million of them. It was indeed a terrifying number. If this continued, no one knew what would happen. In desperation, Mo Wutian could only choose to take the initiative. Hearing Mo Wutian's order, Mo Wufeng's face lit up. He immediately went out to make arrangements. The Devil Palace's foundation and strength were not to be underestimated. The situation suddenly changed. The Firefly army of over 50 million began to disappear in a frenzy. What was going on? Seeing the countless fireflies disappear, the Devil Palace was completely dumbfounded. They did not know what the other party was trying to do. They were the ones taking the initiative to attack. Why did they suddenly disappear? They could not figure it out. Mo Wufeng's face was grim. He could not figure out what was going on. Why would the Firefly army disappear all of a sudden? Old Ancestor, is the other party trying to take advantage of this to deal with us? Mo Wufeng's meaning was clear. Previously, the chaotic world was divided into three. The Domain Lords Alliance, the Pill Hall, and the Devil Palace. But now, the Devil Palace was the dominant force in the chaotic world. Therefore, Mo Wufeng could even imagine that the one who wanted to deal with the Devil Palace was either Han Wu or Tsanya. Wufeng, I can almost say that this is definitely not Han Wu or Tsanya's doing. Ah. What did the Ancestor mean by that? Previously, he had even asserted that this matter was definitely done by Han Wu and Tsanya. However, the old Ancestor said otherwise. He wasn't a fool. Since the old Ancestor said so, he definitely had his own thoughts. I've thought about it over and over again. In the entire primal chaos realm, other than Longao, I really can't think of a second person who could do this and dare to continuously provoke the Devil Palace. Longao? How could it be Longao? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure out why it was Longao. It was completely impossible. Ancestor, can Longao control such a terrifying firebug army? He didn't believe it at all. But not just Mo Wufeng, no matter who it was, they wouldn't believe that Longao was the culprit. My intuition tells me that this has something to do with Longao. Ancestor, if this is really Longao's doing, how should we deal with it? Deal with all changes by sticking to the status quo. Mo Wutian sighed. If this was true, then it was truly unbelievable. To think that Longao could actually subdue the Firebug army. The moment the Devil Palace army retreated, the Firebug army appeared once again and launched a frenzied attack. By the time the Devil Palace counterattacked, the Firebug army had disappeared once again. Attack, disappear. Attack again. Disappear again. Over and over again. Mo Wutian and Mo Wufeng did not know what Longao was trying to do. Under normal circumstances, since Longao had such a terrifying firebug army, he should be able to launch a frenzied attack. Even dividing the primal chaos realm equally wasn't impossible. But the result was that Longao wasn't going against the Devil Palace head-on. Other than Longao himself, no one else knew about this. Although Master Clairvoyant and Nan Gongyin had left the Devil Palace, they didn't leave the first sky. This was because they knew that Longao was in the first sky. Before he recovered, they were no match for him. Therefore, they had to rely on Mo Wutian and Judas to deal with Longao. Although they didn't like the situation, they had no other choice. After all, Longao's recovery speed was so fast. If they could recover their cultivation to the Chaos Reincarnation realm, then all of this wouldn't be a problem. The two were helpless. Everything was under their control, but they never thought that in such a short time, the tables would turn and they would be forced into a passive position. Nan Gongyin, do you think Wutian Mo is sincere in helping us, or is he just using us? Master Clairvoyant asked with a smile. How could Master Clairvoyant not know Wutian Mo's intentions? But knowing was one thing, and how to deal with it was another. Especially at this time, without Mo Wutian and Judas' help, it wouldn't be easy to kill Longao. Nan Gongyin, of course, knew what Master Clairvoyant meant. After thinking for a while, he said, it doesn't matter what Wutian Mo's intentions are. As long as he can help me kill Longao and get the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula, we only have one goal, and that is to reach the Tao realm. As for the rest, it has nothing to do with us. You're right. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that Wutian Mo isn't that simple. If he kills Longao and takes the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula for himself, it won't benefit us at all. What do you mean? You should know why we haven't been able to recover to the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Why don't we take a risk? If we succeed, then we won't have to worry about Wutian Mo, or even Longao. Even if we fail, then it's just that we're not fated to reach the Tao realm, and we'll just reincarnate. It was easy to say, but if they failed, they'd be reincarnated. No one knew what would happen then, and they might even die. However, apart from this method, there seemed to be no other good method. How should he choose? Neither of them spoke. Yidugu, who stood to the side, didn't show anything on his face, but he was pleasantly surprised. Of course, he hoped that they would choose this way. If they succeeded, then it would be beneficial to him. Even if they failed, it wouldn't be bad for him. Yidugu no longer considered himself Yibu's son. If they continued to be foolish, only death would await them. Every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. Chapter 32:16. Finally, the Oracle and Nangongin chose to take the risk and return to their chaos reincarnation state. As for Yidugu, he followed along and cultivated as well. Longao had been testing the waters all this while. He did not want to clash with the demon palace head-on. But in the end, he still did not know what was going on. Qin Shuangshuang's cultivation base had also returned to chaos reincarnation state, and she had regained her memories as well. Longao. She finally remembered who Longao was. It was a sad feeling. Big Brother Long, I will definitely find you. Qin Shuangshuang arrived at the first sky and searched high and low for Longao. As a chaos reincarnation martial artist, she was already at the pinnacle of martial arts. There was hardly anyone who could pose a threat to her. But before Qin Shuangshuang could find Longao, she bumped into Mo Wutian and Judas. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. As the saying went, the moment enemies met, their eyes would turn red. Qin Shuangshuang did not care how many people there were. The moment she saw them, she attacked. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. Hell has no doors, but you barge in. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Judas laughed maniacally as well. After all, controlling Qin Shuangshuang was equivalent to controlling Longao. One could wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it by chance. So what if Qin Shuangshuang was a chaos reincarnation martial artist? Once the two of them joined forces, dealing with Qin Shuangshuang was a piece of cake. In the blink of an eye, the three of them were engaged in a fierce battle, exchanging blows back and forth. Boom! 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 If it were a one-on-one fight, Qin Shuangshuang might not necessarily be at a disadvantage. But things were different now. She had to face a man and a beast at the same time. Furthermore, both Mo Wutian and Judas were chaos reincarnation martial artists. Wanting to defeat a man and a beast was like a fool's dream. It was almost impossible. Just as Qin Shuangshuang could not hold on any longer, suddenly, the situation changed. Suddenly, countless firebugs appeared from all directions and began to attack the man and the beast in a frenzy. Longao's figure appeared, his face filled with rage. He never thought that Qin Shuangshuang would suddenly appear here and be besieged by a man and a beast. Looking at Qin Shuangshuang, who was gradually unable to resist, Longao felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he had arrived in time. If he had arrived a little later, it was hard to imagine what would have happened. Endless rage. Endless killing intent. If it were any other time, Longao would definitely not be willing to casually sacrifice the firebug puppet army unless it was a last resort. But now, Longao couldn't suppress the anger in his body. If he dared to deal with Qin Shuangshuang, even if he had to sacrifice all of his firebug puppets, he wouldn't hesitate. As long as he could kill one man and one beast, he would pay any price. The current situation was completely different. Qin Shuangshuang had already recognized Longao. Looking at the man who suddenly appeared in front of her, her face immediately lit up. She said in surprise, "Brother Long, are you okay?" "Huh." When he heard Qin Shuangshuang call out his name, Longao was stunned. he guessed that Qin Shuangshuang must have recognized him. Otherwise, she wouldn't have called out his name so easily. Longao's face was also filled with joy. He walked up to Qin Shuangshuang and pulled her into his arms. He said excitedly, "Shuangshuang, you recognized me." "Good, very good." When they saw Longao and his firefly puppet army, both Mo Wutian and Judas guessed that Longao was responsible for the firefly puppet army's sudden attack on Demon Palace. The man and the beast really couldn't figure out how Longao did it. How could he command such a huge firebug army? The man and the beast knew better than anyone else what it meant to the firebug army. That was exactly what happened. Man and beast didn't dare be careless. They fought with everything they had against the firefly puppet army. The firefly puppets were strong, especially their 100 million strong army. They could easily wipe out any opponent, but against the Chaos Samsara puppets, it was a different story. Chaos Samsara puppets were masters of the fusion of life and death. They were masters of the Chaos Samsara puppets. They were the best of the best. Even with such a large army of firefly puppets, it wouldn't be easy to destroy 2 Chaos Samsara puppets. "Brother Dragon, can the firefly puppets kill Mo Wutian and Judas?" Qin Shuangshuang didn't have the slightest confidence. After all, the strength of man and beast was there for all to see. Especially since Dragon hadn't recovered his Chaos Samsara powers. How could Longao not understand what Qin Shuangshuang was trying to say? Even Longao was not completely confident that the firebug army could kill the man and the beast. However, in his opinion, if he sacrificed the entire firebug army, even if the man and the beast did not die, they would probably lose a layer of skin. What kind of concept was that? Longao didn't care about the lives of man and beast. What he really cared about was Qin Shuangshuang. If she could recover her memories, that was more important than anything else. "Shuangshuang, let's go." Qin Shuangshuang seemed to know what Longao was thinking. She nodded, and the two of them disappeared. Then, the firefly puppets around them began to disappear. Only now did Wutian and Judas breathe a sigh of relief. Both man and beast were wary of the endless swarm of puppets that surrounded them. If they weren't careful, they'd be doomed. "Boss, what do we do now?" Judas' face was dark and gloomy. He never would have guessed that Ao would be able to command such a massive army of firebugs. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. He knew better than anyone what this army of firebugs meant. How could Wutian not understand what Judas meant? He thought for a moment, then said, "Judas, Longao is no longer the man he used to be. Forget about the firefly puppets, his talent and potential alone will allow him to return to the chaos level in no time at all. When that happens, it won't be easy for us to deal with him." Mo Wutian was not afraid of the firefly army, but he was helpless against Longao. This was especially true now that Longao had Qin Shuangshuang by his side. If Qin Shuangshuang was an ordinary chaotic martialist, it would be fine. However, Qin Shuangshuang was a chaotic Samsara realm martialist. If they were to fight one-on-one, even Mo Wutian was not fully confident that he could defeat Qin Shuangshuang. It was a helpless situation. "Boss, what do we do now?" Wutian thought for a moment. "No matter the cost, we need to get rid of them as soon as possible. We can't leave any problems for us." Chapter 32:17. Wutian and Mo wanted to acquire the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex as well. But they never would have thought that Longao's improvement far exceeded their scope of understanding. They were already wary of Longao when they first met him, and now they were even more fearful. Longao was the first to create the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex. He had only reached the peak of the 7th revolution, but he had already reached the threshold of vindication. It was easy to imagine. If Longao was able to break through the 8th revolution of the 9 revolution primal chaos mantra, then without a doubt, Longao would definitely be able to successfully validate his Tao. Just because he had failed before didn't mean he wouldn't succeed now. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Longao did succeed, then it would be a different story altogether. Even if he and Judas worked together, all of the Chaos Masters would be no match for Longao. How could he not be afraid? On one side was the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex, and on the other was Longao. In the past, Wu Tianmo would have chosen the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex without hesitation. The way he saw it, as long as he could cultivate the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex, his chances of success would be much higher. But now, Wu Tianmo would not choose the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex. He would choose to kill Longao and eliminate the source of the problem. And the result? Wanting to kill Longao was not an easy task. What should he do? His face grew darker and darker. Inside his chaotic dantian, Longao was overjoyed to see Qin Shuangshuang regain her memories. He never would have guessed that she would do so at a time like this. It was a blessing in disguise. Shuangshuang, what happened? Tell me, Longao asked impatiently. He wanted to know why Shuangshuang had suddenly regained her memories. He had thought of countless ways to help her recover her memories, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't come up with a single solution. Could it be because she had returned to the chaos level? Sure enough. Qin Shuangshuang smiled and didn't hide anything. She recounted everything that had happened before in full detail. So that's how it is. It looks like everyone else had an easy time recovering, except for me. Regarding this matter, Longao felt very helpless. Back then, many primal chaos reincarnation experts had entered the reincarnation cycle. If there were no accidents, all of them would have successfully reincarnated. Any martial artist who awakened in samsara would quickly recover to the primal chaos samsara realm. Except for himself. The biggest reason was his physique. Chaotic sacred body. Such a sacred body would definitely be of great help to him in the future. This kind of saint body had both advantages and disadvantages. It could also hinder him from quickly recovering to his peak. If not for the fact that he had condensed the chaotic sacred body, he believed that he would have already recovered to the chaotic reincarnation state. Why would he still be bitterly stuck in the chaotic samsara state? Qin Shuangshuang had a rough understanding of Longao's situation. Brother Long, you can't be too hasty. With your chaotic saint body, you shouldn't have broken through so quickly. It's only because you've continuously obtained opportunities that you can break through the chaotic life and death realm. He nodded. How could Longao not know what Qin Shuangshuang was talking about? In my opinion, you should not be thinking about how to break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Instead, you should focus on stabilizing the realm that you broke through previously. In that case, it might be unexpectedly beneficial to your cultivation. Her words cut to the chase. Longao's face lit up with joy. He took Qin Shuangshuang's hand and smiled. I understand. The two of them remained in the Chaos Dantian, not leaving for a short time. Others might not be able to stay in the Chaos Dantian for long periods of time, but that didn't mean Qin Shuangshuang couldn't. Longao introduced Qin Shuangshuang to Yushi and the others. By now, Longao had not only accepted Sister Yun and Xiao Qian, but also Ling Ruoi, the poor girl. Qin Shuangshuang didn't mind at all. When the two of them first entered the cycle of reincarnation, she had already thought of this. As for Longao's army of fireflies, Mo Wutian and Judas did not reveal it to the outside world. So far, no one in the realm of chaos knew about it. Otherwise, it would have caused quite a stir. Ever since Wutian and Judas returned to the Demon Palace, they had begun discussing how to deal with Longao. From their point of view, as long as Longao wasn't eliminated, then one day Longao would return to the chaotic samsara state and deal with them. In the end, the man and the beast were afraid. Mo Wufeng, on the other hand, was very curious. If it were any other time, the ancestors would have told him. But now, he didn't know what was going on. After the two ancestors returned, they didn't say a word. Instead, they began their discussion. As the palace lord of the Demon Palace, Missouri Wufeng was a wily old fox. How could he not know that things weren't as simple as they seemed? It would be a lie to say that there was nothing fishy going on. Mo Wufeng even guessed that what the two ancestors were discussing had something to do with the Firefly Army. Since the two old ancestors didn't say much, Mo Wufeng didn't dare to ask. Now that the Devil Palace had taken over the entire Chaos world, there were still many things he needed to do, especially the Domain Lords Alliance, the Pill Hall, and the Heavenly Lightning Domain. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for the Demon Palace. Gu Hao left the Thunder Domain. Of course, he wasn't going to give up so easily. He had prepared for so many years, but in the end, all his efforts were for naught. In the end, the Demon Palace took advantage of him. Initially, Gu Hao had thought that the battle between the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall, as well as the Demon Palace, would end with both sides suffering heavy losses, and he would be able to reap the benefits. But, the outcome was far beyond his expectations. It would be a lie if he said that he didn't regret it. But, at this point, it was too late for regrets. Chaos Life and Death State. I'm just one step away from recovering to the Chaos Reincarnation State. By then, as long as I can get my hands on that treasure, there will be no one below the Tao Confirmation State who will be my match. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Within the gigantic valley, a black mist swirled around as Gu Hao stood there, laughing maniacally. Even though he had temporarily lost his position as the Overlord, as long as his cultivation state recovered to the Chaos Reincarnation State, he would be able to take back what belonged to him. But, by then, it wouldn't be that easy for him to take over the entire Chaos world. After laughing maniacally, Gu Hao turned around and headed towards the depths of the valley. He had already decided that no matter what price he had to pay, he had to recover to the Chaos Reincarnation State. Only by reaching the Chaos Reincarnation State could he fight against Mo Wutian. Otherwise, everything would be bullshit. As for Gu Hao, Mo Wutian didn't care about him at all. That was because he had never heard of this person before. Chapter 32:18. After finding Qin Shuangshuang successfully, Longao was very excited. He did not continue to deal with the Demon Palace but stayed in the chaotic Dantian with Qin Shuangshuang. Sister Yun, now that Brother Ao has Sister Shuangshuang, will he forget about us? Xiao Qian and Ling Ruoyu were very worried. It was not easy to win Longao's heart, but at this time, Qin Shuangshuang appeared. The two girls were not fools. They could clearly feel from Brother Ao that Ao liked his sister Shuangshuang very much. It would be a lie to say that they were not jealous. Yunxi smiled and said, "It's not like you don't know Brother Long's character. Why are you worried?" It would be a lie to say that they were not worried. At this moment, Qin Shuangshuang walked over with a smile as if she could guess what the two girls were thinking. "Xiao Qian, Roy, do you want to hear about me and Longao?" "Sister Shuangshuang, we want to hear about it." Whether it was Xiao Qian or Roy, both of them were very confident in their looks. However, when facing Sister Shuangshuang, both of them had no confidence at all. They were ashamed of their inferiority. Qin Shuangshuang's beauty was definitely the best in the chaotic world. No one could beat her. Towards the three women, Qin Shuangshuang did not hide anything. She told them everything that happened between her and Longao in full detail. The three girls were completely dumbfounded. Qin Shuangshuang and Longao's relationship back then could be said to be earth-shattering. Longao, who was sitting by the side cultivating, also had a face full of emotions. Back then, he and Qin Shuangshuang were able to come together after going through countless obstacles. "Brother Long, what are we going to do next?" The current Longao was not the same as before. Not only did he have Qin Shuangshuang, a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist, but he also had Blackie and other chaotic life and death realm martial artists and dozens of strange fires. Even if he faced a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist, he definitely had the power to fight. including hundreds of millions of firebug puppet army. What kind of concept was that? How could Longao not know about Qin Shuangshuang's intention? However, at this time, it was not a wise move to deal with the Demon Palace. Longao didn't have the slightest interest in the so-called overlord position. He didn't have it back then, and he didn't have it in this life. Apart from a few Primal Chaos reincarnation experts, the rest of the Primal Chaos reincarnation experts were not interested in dominating the Primal Chaos world. There was no doubt about it. Anyone who could break through the Primal Chaos reincarnation realm would wholeheartedly affirm their Tao. No matter what. As long as he succeeded in validating his Tao, he would soar into the sky. Shuangshuang, what do you think we should do now? Qin Shuangshuang thought for a moment and said, let's wait and see. Wait and see? What did that mean? Longao didn't seem to understand what was going on. If he had the deterrence of the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall, he might be able to wait and see. However, the situation was different now. No matter if it was the Domain Lords Alliance or the Pill Hall, they were all destroyed by the Devil Palace. In the entire chaotic world, there was no other force that could resist the Devil Palace. He originally thought that Gu Hao could contend against the Demon Palace, and even if he beat Longao to death, he would never have thought that the Thunder Heavenly Domain led by Gu Hao would not even be able to contend against the Demon Palace, and would already be completely destroyed by the Demon Palace. Shuangshuang, what do you mean by this? Brother Long, you should know better than me what kind of people Han Wu and Sanya are. In their eyes, dominating the chaotic world is far above validating their Tao. Therefore, according to my guess, if there is no accident, Han Wu and Sanya will not let this matter rest. When the time comes, once the two of them recover their Chaos Reincarnation realm, think about it, how could Han Wu and Sanya let Mo Wu Tian go? So that's it. Longao's expression was very serious. Recovering the Chaos Reincarnation realm was easy, but also difficult. Just like Mo Wu Tian and Zhuiying, they had already recovered their Chaos Reincarnation realm so quickly. Including Qin Shuangshuang, it was the same. If it was Sanya and Han Wu, it was really unknown when they could recover their Chaos Reincarnation realm. Could it be that he had to wait like this? No matter what, he had to kill Mo Wu Tian. If he could subdue Zhuiying, it would be a good thing. As if she could guess Longao's thoughts, Qin Shuangshuang continued, Brother Long, I have a feeling that Han Wu and Sanya, including the others, will recover their Chaos Reincarnation realm in the shortest time possible. What do you mean? Qin Shuangshuang nodded, her voice full of concern. The heavens have been suppressing us. It's been many years since anyone has been able to prove their Tao. Do you think there's nothing fishy about this? I know what you mean. I felt something was wrong back then. Under normal circumstances, I should have been able to break through to the 8th cycle and prove my Tao. But at the last moment, a mysterious force was suppressing me. If I hadn't entered the cycle of reincarnation, I would have been gone by now. The more he thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong. As for what was wrong, he couldn't put his finger on it. Brother Long, we still have 8,000 years to go. But we must be prepared. Our luck won't always be so good. Nodding, Longao's face turned ugly. Proving the Tao of Chaos was the dream of every Chaos martial artist. Especially the Chaos Reincarnation martial artists, they couldn't wait to prove their Tao. But for so many years, no one had succeeded in proving their Tao, including Longao. Back then, Longao had created the 9-cycle Chaos Mantra. Just by cultivating it to the peak of the 7th cycle, he had already broken through to the peak of the Chaos Reincarnation realm. At that time, he was hailed by everyone as the person most likely to succeed in proving his Tao. But what was the result? Even though he was only one step away from the 8th cycle, Longao still had full confidence that he could break through to the 8th cycle and prove his Tao. But he didn't expect that at the critical moment, a mysterious force would suddenly descend and suppress him. Not only could he not continue to break through to the 8th cycle, but he was also almost killed. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Back then, he was already standing at the peak of the chaos reincarnation realm. He was almost invincible under the Tao. Even so, that mysterious force almost killed him. Until now, he still couldn't figure out what kind of force could have such power. Could it be a Tao-proving martial artist? It seemed a bit ridiculous. Even if it was a Tao vindication warrior, it was impossible to do this unless it was the Chaos Tao itself. However, everyone knew that the Chaos Tao itself was an illusory thing. Whether it existed or not was still unknown. Therefore, after thinking about it, Longao could not figure out what was going on. Being unable to deal with the mysterious force was always a troublesome matter. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.